Good. Oh my goodness. Good morning. Happy Sunday, Sussex Squad, Sussex Nation. Happy Sunday, Charles and George.
Happy Sunday, but I'm wondering who's got the broken watch. Somebody said 11:30. It is almost 12:30 on the dot.
What time did we start preparing for the show? I mean, we gotta let people know something is wrong here.
Well,
And you know what? There's somebody I'm gonna blame for this.
Oh boy.
I know who it is.
No, you guys don't know. Who you think I'm gonna blame for it?
I'm not going to say it, but I know who it is. Somebody who put out something incredible last night.
I'm actually going to blame Barry.
Exactly.
For this. That is all his fault. Because I cannot stop watching. He keep putting this really incredible content, and then I'm quite confused which way to go. And it took me how long? Since 7 this morning. And I'm watching, and I'm like, every time, like he goes to something else, and I'm like, oh my God, maybe I should talk about this. Oh no, maybe I should do this. That's Baron.
This is one of the most
Yes.
shortest timelines between a changed word and the start of the service. You added a new word like
This
just
is all
35
Royal
minutes ago.
Sussex for doing this incredible work, incredible, reporting, and just keeping us like on our toes. I mean, like I said again, with Baron, it's like, you miss a day. Even I'll dare say you miss a minute, you miss a lot. And it's like the way he does this work, I don't really quite get it. I don't understand it. I don't know how to do this work. And sometimes I'm like, should I even be bothered? Because what else do I have to add? So it's really all his fault.
It is. And while we continue blaming Baron, let's just check with everyone in the chat that you can all hear us. There's no technical issues. As you know, we're still learning this whole live thing. We'll just make sure that we're coming through loud and clear.
Exactly. Blame it on Baron for doing an incredible job.
Is that it?
That's right.
Our mic check is
I
blame it
could've-
on Barrett.
I could have just coming in and just give one or two sentences. I would have been over it. That's if anybody understanding anything that I said. So, but, probably depending on you two to put out a statement and then we're done. No. I have to follow what Well Sussex is doing, putting incredible content out. And then, and I want to say something. I don't know. I feel drunk. We have a birthday to celebrate today. This is our boy, our king, King of King, good King Harry, 40th birthday. We need to celebrate. Hit it.
Raise a glass, you've made it another year. Happy birthday, have a laugh, crack a smile, even shed a tear. Because it's your birthday. Pop the cork, pour the flute, make a wish, and don't forget to count the candles. Now we celebrate with cheers. Raise your glass to another year. Young, and then they say your age like wine or tan as leather. Now we face our greatest fear. Raise your glass to another year. Friends and loved ones gather near. Raise your glass to another year.
We should raise our glass. What are you guys drinking? We have to.
Coffee.
Coffee. I have my tea. What about you, Charles?
Just some good old-fashioned H2O.
And for those of you who's on the line, if you're having something, let's raise to our good King Harry.
Hear,
Happy
hear.
40th.
Cheers.
Happy 40th.
Happy birthday, Harry.
Wonderful. Happy birthday. Where do we begin? It's been an incredible week. There's so much going on. And again, I feel like I'm being pulled to have this conversation that I really don't want to have. It's about this video that was released by, Prince of Wales and Catherine. because I feel like people talk about just Catherine, but it was the two of them. There was two people in that video plus their kids. So I mean, you can't mention one without mentioning the other. And of course, it is very difficult for me to actually really talking about them. I don't like talking about them like that. But I find myself feeling a little bit insulted, a little bit of, I don't know what to say, especially knowing how we have members of our community that is going through a lot with this, illness. And to see what they put out, how they decide to make their announcement of being, I don't know, did she even say she's cancer free? I'm not even sure how she reported on it. It was just a blurb to me that the whole video turned me off. I have a problem with that. And then I was listening to Sussex, and he wasn't comfortable with it as well too. Before we know that it seems like the whole media, out there had an issue, had something to say about it because they too had a problem with it. And for me, it's a bit personal because I've lost so many people, through this illness, and recently my aunt. So you can understand this is something dear to my heart. And I feel like there's so much this woman, the palace, and Prince of Wales, they could have done with the way, I'm not here to tell them how to do their work or how to announce things, but it's just almost like a slap in the face to everyone that's dealing with this illness or people that are sort of survivor of it as well. So we are going to talk about it a little bit as much as I can, because
Probably not as much as you can, but we will be talking about
well, we'll be talking about it. But anyway, and let's check with you, Charles. What does Churchinelli has to say in her report?
Sure.
This week.
It is
because I know there's a lot.
It's fairly juicy. It is a fairly juicy report. It's true. So first and foremost, as Miss Lady Sussex actually mentioned, it is our wonderful prince's birthday, his 40th birthday, as a matter of fact, on September 15th, so this very day. And he plans on celebrating with an intimate bash at his house in Montecito, California, with family and friends. He's kicking off his, and this is actually a public announcement that his press team put out, and actually was in People magazine. So Harry is kicking off his 40s with a focus on fatherhood. The proud dad recently mentioned in People, the best gift ever has been his children, without a doubt. I enjoy watching them grow every single day, and I love being their dad. I was anxious about 30. I am excited about 40. Harry told a BBC in a statement published on September 13th, and added, whatever the age, my mission is to continue showing up and doing good in the world.
I actually think that the media and, those folks that were so eager to want to have Harry back without his kids and his wife take notice of that statement.
Yeah, of actually showing up and
that
doing
statement, not the fact that, again, they need to hear what the man says, that that is his proudest moment. That was his best gift ever. It's having his two kids. And very often when they mention about Harry wants to come back or Harry should come back, they have never mentioned his kids and his wife. Maybe now that should be very clear to them that, how important his wife and his children are.
That's actually a very good point. There's a little bit more to this, so I'll just read a little bit more to it, because some of it I think everyone will find quite interesting. As he prepared to turn 40, Prince Harry told BBC, bring on the next decade. Soon after his big day, the Duke of Sussex will head to New York to work on behalf of several projects close to his heart, including the organization behind his mother, Princess Diana's Legacy Award. So that's not the thing. The interesting thing is, Prince Harry is to receive a phone call from the estranged royals on his 40th birthday, but not William. William is not going to give him a call, apparently. William will hear from his family, a palace source exclusively tells the Post. It is very likely that Charles and Kate will likely phone Harry to wish him well on his birthday. However, the sources also add that Harry will most likely not be hearing from his estranged brother and the future king, Prince William, who paid him no mind when they both visited and attended the uncle's funeral last month, which is basically what I'm writing. So, just to give a little bit more context on this, the royal family sent Prince Harry a birthday message for the first time in 3 years. The first time in 3 years, early on Sunday, wishing the Duke of Sussex a very happy birthday. And this is actually coming from the royals. And then also, not only do they do that, but they also actually message him specifically on their own Twitter/X account, which says, wishing the Duke of Sussex a very happy birthday today. Prince William and Kate Middleton also shared on their royal family's post on Instagram, as well as on Twitter, adding their own celebratory message wishing a happy 40th birthday to the Duke of Sussex as well. So the celebratory post comes as a surprise, as public birthday wishes are usually reserved for working royals, occasionally marking milestone birthdays as well.
Well, first of all, it's not a surprise. They had no choice. After this incredible trip, incredible everything that they have been doing so far with Colombia, again, I think there's a report just put out, I saw again in Royal Sussex, that, it's been saying now that Harry is the most popular royals, beat out his father, King Charles. So if you have the most popular person, you're going to want to attach yourself. You're going to have to say something. Because for them not to say something, not wishing him, it would backfire. Because lately it seems like that's all that's happening to them. Everything they tried to do to Harry and Meghan, it backfired on them. And for them who would not wish him 40th birthday, there's no way they would have been able to get away with that without people have something to say. When you looked at the incredible work that they've been doing the last couple months and how they're turning the whole royal thing to, like the media, it's, upside down. They don't know how to report, don't know what to say. They are flip-flopping left and right because they are doing the work that the other royals should have been doing. There's nothing to really report on those other ones but Harry and Meghan. And if we are talking about working royals, again, I want somebody to define that.
Yeah, it
Because
is very
at
much
the
a
end of the
misnomer,
day,
isn't it? Working
they
royal?
have not lost their titles. They are royals. Harry, it's Prince Harry, will die Prince Harry. Meghan will die being a princess. She is royals. Their children are royals. They are doing pretty much, I will say, dare to say, better work, fantastic work than they were doing when they were with the palace. So I would like for somebody to define, what does that mean? They are working royals. They're actually working.
No, I think they're working.
I don't know what
They're
that
actually
mean.
working.
Can
think
somebody
my-
explain to
my-
maybe somebody, and I'm truly really seriously, put that out as a question, and please Sussex Squad, if I get it wrong, maybe there's something that I need to see or take notice. I just want to know.
It's not that the royal is working. It's that the British taxpayers are working to pay for them. And so that's why Harry and Meghan are not working royals. Because they're not getting paid for by the British taxpayer.
I get okay. All right, I'll take this. I get it. Okay. All right. But I think that the problem that they have is when you see what Harry is doing, the work that they are doing, versus what's happening over there at the moment. I wish they had stayed silent on that and make like they do with everything else, pretending it's not happening, but it's happening, and keep writing the good press and the good work that Harry and Meghan are doing. It's really working against them every time they say this word. This is why I'm thinking that, you know what, some of the medias, I think they have something against the royals, specifically King Charles, the palace, and everything, but they're using Harry and Meghan very often to make their point because it does not make them look good when you put it like this. Because everybody, I mean, Harry and Meghan are on the world stage. They are dominant. You know, there's something that, you know, on Royal Sussex always say, I think he always taking that from Duke and I, that, you know, Meghan is the moment. Well, both of them now, they are the moment. And so when you put it like that, there is absolutely no way people is going to look at say, well, what about the other one? What are they doing?
Yeah, the contrast is pretty stark.
I'm going to need you guys to help me here because so I'm not the only one talking.
Well, I still got a whole bunch of Church Nelly that we haven't even got to.
That's right.
Yeah,
Let's
we're
go
still in
back
the
to
middle of
Church
this.
Nelly.
So the next little article, the next little piece that we'll do is that we all know about Harry's trip to New York later this month to speak at obviously the Clinton Initiative as well as supporting all the other charities that he has. But two other things actually popped up in the news as well, kind of surrounding the event, which I thought one was actually just kind of funny. And the other also just a little more clarity and something that honestly, like I kind of overlooked and forgot about, honestly. And I wouldn't say forgot about, but wasn't really paying quite as attention as I should. The first is actually Newsweek put out an article, and the headline of this article, the title of the article is Prince Harry New York visit could steal Prince William's thunder, because he also is coming to New York or might be coming to New York on the same time.
I don't think he's coming. I think he's canceled.
Yeah.
Well, he did. Well, I mean, it is his thing, so I don't think he canceled. I think he may just not be attending. The event's still going to happen, but yeah.
Yeah,
so
there was some chicken noises coming out of Barron from last night's episode, I think, about William's lack of attendance or lack of planned attendance now.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
dear
So
Lord.
he probably did back up.
I'm telling you, like, you know, it's listen to Barron. It's I guess, you know, it's sometimes I feel like I need therapy because I can't stop. You know what I mean? It's like, don't bother me. Don't talk to me. if like my mom, I have to run and I have to pause and I have the headphone and it's a mess. I'm literally a mess. I think I'm addicted and I think I need help.
Yeah, well, you and 60,000 plus other people.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh
exactly.
my God.
So the next little piece of this as well is there was actually during the same actual kind of article and then actually alluded to another thing, which was actually talking about Harry coming back in his upcoming trip to New York. And then also just about some of the details, but also that he's set to receive additional security following his and Meghan Markle's so-called near catastrophic paparazzi car chase through Manhattan just last year. So I thought that was also something else that'd be very interesting to talk about is that, you know, everyone's saying, oh, it wasn't such a big deal, but he's actually getting like more security than he did last year just because of what actually happened. So it's important that we also pay attention to that too.
What I will say about this, if I can even remember the word, here in America, especially for those of you who have become citizen, you know, as you swearing to become an American, one of the things that, you know, you swearing to is to always protecting the interests of America. And when you looked at Meghan, she is not only an interest, but she's an asset. And that's how I view it. And I think many people see her as that because of the incredible work that she's doing in the world stage as an American, but also really somebody I feel like America is proud to have as an asset. And so for me, her getting protection here in New York, especially when they come to New York, how they highlight the city, what they brought into New York, of course, you will protect that asset. And that's what probably England is failed to realize. Beside of them, need securities because of, high profile, but they also, Harry, it's a huge asset to them, which they seem to letting go. But, hey, good for us.
Yep.
So we are going to protect our assets. And maybe that is probably the reason why so many Americans come to, her defense the way they do, the way we do. Because we understand we need to protect great assets of America. And it's a part of it. That's my opinion.
Yeah, no, I mean, I could definitely see that. And I also just see, like, coming off of the other side is like the invisible hand stopping the protection over there. Because what your argument makes sense. Like, it just makes sense. It's not that it doesn't make sense in Britain. Of course, it makes more sense, maybe even in Britain. Is the fact that something must be stopping it, and then that's just crazy.
Well, and to your point, that's also why they have, you say their hands a bit forced in terms of extending those birthday wishes, because it is to them as a couple, them as a unit. Meghan is attached to Harry in that regard, and they recognize that they are both assets, and there is value that they get from that attachment.
And keep giving. I mean, like, think about it. Think about how long, our princess has been back here. And what she already doing in term, whether it's charity work here in America, that she's highlighting things that she's doing here. When you looked at Harry, the work that he's doing here with, with the veterans, to, not just only the charity work here, but the stuff that the kind of amazing work that they're doing here. It's bringing money in the fashion world as well. This is, we're talking about a lot of money here.
There are cultural and economic engines.
Exactly.
Everything they touch.
Exactly my point.
Yeah.
So you're going to protect that assets.
Yeah, absolutely. So the next little piece of this is actually there was a bookstore that just recently opened called Godmothers, which is quite interesting. And Meghan was actually at Meghan and Harry was at the new bookstore opening over the weekend, and recalled the last time that they actually set foot in a similar spot when she was actually just giving some quick remarks there, which was back in 2019 during a covert trip in New York from the UK in order to kind of watch Serena Williams play in the U.S. Open. For me, sneaking to New York 5 years ago was a really big deal, the Duchess said. Describing how she put on a cap and kept her head down. It was really, she was still so uncomfortable being out in the world and like in public, she continued, hinting at the fraught time in her tenure as a working royal, the safety of what she was really craving, and she knew that she could find it actually in a bookstore. So that's just kind of what she feels bookstores specifically kind of provide as this kind of refuge is what she was really looking for. And since its inception, the Godmothers actually has been kind of sprinkled in what this kind of Montecito magic is what they called it. And the idea actually started with Harry at his Beverly Hills book party when he thanked Oprah Winfrey, Jackson, and Rudolph Walsh, who's actually, the two of them actually are the owners of this, for their support, and actually calling all three of them his fairy godmothers, which is thus the name of this bookstore, which is called Godmothers. When plans for the bookstore took shape, Winfrey basically just told the new shopkeepers this really kind of one thing you can kind of name it, is what Harry said. You should just name it Godmothers.
Again, we got to protect our interests here in America. Harry is an interest to America currently with his wife and with his American children. And so we gotta protect our interests. That's all there is to it. And that's what I'm doing. I am protecting the interests of America.
That's it. Well, that's what we are doing. The squad
what we are doing.
It is a collective effort.
That's right.
Yep. And the last little thing from Church Nelly Report today is about Harry's new win, right? The lawsuit.
That's right. That's right.
So, actually, recently announced, the lawsuit actually brought over Princess Harry's visa status, which is just
silly.
well, one, it's silly, but also I'm wondering where
Dangerous.
this came from. Where did this come from? They didn't just pick this up, just decide to do this. They were instructed to do this, I am sure.
I think what else say it better than I can is that really what they were trying to do is to getting into his file, getting into his text, getting into everything that, that could bring them money, they could talk about, they could trash. That's all this was about.
Yeah. Well, also, I mean, if they actually had an issue with his citizenship and they actually tried to get him out of here, then, they would have to kind of upend and go somewhere else, right? And so it would be this whole big thing. But anyway, the whole point is that this lawsuit from the Heritage Foundation, this conservative think tank, has been terminated.
Yeah.
Has been dismissed.
Yeah.
So reasons for this, just so everyone's kind of caught up. Harry actually mentioned in his memoir how he was actually taking some drugs and this and that when he was a kid. And the Heritage filed a Freedom of Information Act lawsuit against the Department of Homeland Security, demanding the publication of Harry's visa documents, arguing that his use of narcotics should be barring him from actually living and working in America. But at the end of the day, the judge ruled that it was stupid. and he dismissed the case on September 9th.
A precedent like this if they would do something like that, because what that would mean to many very important people, it just didn't make any sense. Anyway. Should we move on to the next? What else do we have?
So no, that's basically it. I got the 4 big things. So the birthday, the trip to New York, the bookstore, and then now the lawsuit, which is dead in the water.
That's right. So what is going on in the chat?
Oh my gosh, the chat is a beautiful thing to see as always, and it is so wonderful to see you all. Hello, Black Queen, Sylvia Fielder, Church Nelly. It is wonderful to see you, Black Queen. Especially, we have been thinking about you. We know
Black Queen is on.
She was the first one on, actually.
Really?
The very
Oh
first.
my God! My condolences to you, Black Queen.
We missed you last week. We know it's been a hard time.
It's been a very, very difficult time. But as well, the excitement of her daughter going to.
Well, we're going to get into that.
So,
we'll get into that. We have the whole thing next time. But yes, absolutely.
We've been praying for you.
We have definitely been
So I'm
praying.
glad that you're able to join us. Thank you for that.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
And thank you for the super sticker, Black Queen.
Yes, as always. You're
As
incredible
always.
support. And a lot of other wonderful people to see. The list is too long as always, but it is great to see you, Sylvia Fielder, Lydia Washington, Sharon Augustine, everyone. It's great that you're on, Hildy, Joseph. Great to see you for a live one. We know you mentioned you've been watching on replay, but it's great to see you here today. And also a sort of a thing to call out from the chat is from Lola Love, who's shared that there are tributes that are going on today for Prince Harry for his birthday. They are live. The Africa is at 3 p.m., Jamaica and the Caribbean at 6 p.m., and USA
Is that on Twitter?
at 8:30 p.m.
I think I've heard something mentioned like that.
They are on Twitter, yes.
Yeah.
On Twitter.
It said I don't know how to. Someone gonna need to walk me through, because even though I
You
tweet
do have an account.
I do have an account and I've tweeted a couple times and stuff like that, but I still don't know how do you find everyone. I need to figure this out. I probably will figure it out. Hopefully my mom would be able to sleep the whole day because she didn't sleep last night.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that I'm able to have that time and to figure it out because I would love to see that tribute.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So shall we get into the Connie Bomber community update, or would you like to, are there still some more mentions you'd like to do?
We should. I would just say that Susie Q, I'm still dreaming about that curry chicken. And it is also wonderful to see you, and thank you so much, Chef Sandy.
Didn't you
Love,
try
for the
to
sticker.
make a curry chicken?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna. No, it
You
would
was
be-
inspired by that.
Yeah.
It didn't quite.
We'll say I need to find the
And
proper recipe.
and attempted.
Authentic recipe.
There was an attention. Okay.
Okay.
But
So-
again, it is so wonderful to see you, Chef Sandy Love, and we know. Thank you. We've been praying for you, thinking about you, and it's wonderful to see you here live again as well. And thank you for the support.
That's right.
Absolutely. So just diving right in, piggybacking on that is the Connie Bomber community update. Yay.
Yes.
So
Is Connie in yet?
she has not showed up yet, but
She will,
she'll definitely pop in.
Yeah.
But first, we'll go out and we'll say some prayers. So first and foremost, obviously to Baron Still. We hope that he continues to feel better, and it's great to have him back. So
That's right.
that's definitely out there. Chef Sandy Love, George had mentioned it earlier, but certainly you are very, very, very much in our prayers as she exits kind of that bad domestic situation she mentioned last week. And she's getting help. So, and she's basically certainly in our very much our earnest prayers. Oh, and Connie said she's here and she's late. Sorry. So she's all over it.
Hey, Connie.
Hey, Connie.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Church Nellie is always in our hearts and certainly always in our prayers. So thank you so much for that.
That's right.
We already mentioned Black Queen. So again, our condolences for your loss in the family, and obviously our support and prayers and congratulations to your daughter as well as she finishes that basic training. Claire Kane certainly was mentioning that she didn't go into specifics, but that she's been having some difficulties, and certainly we will be praying for you. Dorothy Ross, I think the squad community just generally knows what you're going through, and certainly we just hope that you continue to get stronger, feel better. We know that you just had your first round of chemo, and that things just continue to improve.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Fatima, who's always just kind of a mainstay as well. So again, certainly she said that she's in her she needs prayers, and certainly in our prayers. Miss Clutch Sussex, keeping her son and niece also in prayer as they kind of struggle with their own health concerns.
Yeah.
So certainly that. And then Sylvia, you mentioned actually just, I believe it was last week, perhaps a week after, that prayers that the new medication that you're on actually continues to still be effective. So that was just great to know that actually it's there.
Amen on that. And we also, do we still not having anything about the ball? What would you call it again?
Oh, yes. Well, actually, that's in the news thing about the, it's Karen Warner.
That's Connie Bummer, right?
No, it's Karen Warner, not Connie.
No, I'm saying Connie Bummer. We
Community.
brought
Yeah.
Community,
Yeah.
right?
It's the next section. Yep. So yeah. So as I was reading all that out, is there anyone else that we saw in the prayers here? Anybody else? Nope. I think we got it covered. If there are any, please just let us know. We do check this pretty thoroughly. But certainly, if we happen to miss it, please just let us know. Just drop us a comment in the chat, or later on in the overall kind of comments, and we'll be happy to add you to our prayer list. And certainly make sure that we keep everyone in mind, because this community is what matters. And we're all here together, right? So we got to keep it right.
That's right.
So the next piece is basically about the news, right? The news and just general support. And we want to make sure that we're here for that, and we're here for everyone, and we help uplift everybody here. So Dre has a new channel. We're actually going to feature a clip of his actually a little bit later on in the show. The Duchess of Success still has that new book coming out, so please make sure you support that. And Karen Warner, who we talked about, her gala,
Correct.
the 40 Countdown Gala event is in New York, and it was actually last night. It was last night. We did know. We've been talking about it for the last 3 weeks.
Was it last night? Oh,
it was last night. It was September 14th.
Time's flying. That's why we can't even
flying.
start on time at 11:30 o'clock in the morning.
That's right. That's probably also why Karen's probably still asleep, because she's probably exhausted.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So we really hope that it goes.
To that.
Yeah. Well, we're also listening to Baron, getting ready for the show. But no, I'm sure it was fantastic. So
you see why we blame Baron for everything?
There you go.
So now we're blaming him.
Yeah. And then last thing actually that George had mentioned, but I'm going to bring it up myself just because, it's close to my heart as well. So now if there's one thing that we know is that the squad eats well. So between V. Brom's roast beef that she was talking about last week, the week before was Church Nellie's mac and cheese, Susie Q's curry has got us salivating. So we definitely know how to get down when it comes to food. So please do not forget to share your recipes on the community page. So yeah, so that's a real thing.
That
so
can be dangerous.
So keep that roll. It is definitely going to be dangerous.
For the people here.
Maybe not. On a diet right now, it's not helping.
No, so am I. I'm also trying to sort of, ooh.
Yeah.
That
so
can
we'll
be
see.
really dangerous.
We're going to see what.
But the holidays are coming, so
it's
a good excuse.
Looking for the calendar of when to cheat. There you go.
That's right.
So, and the next piece that we actually have here is on a little bit more of a serious note.
Well, actually, before you get to that, just one thing from the chat. You saw V. Thomas asking for us to put the members link in the chat. So we're doing that now. hopefully that works. If it doesn't, we'll also put it in the community page as well. But thank you for asking for that, and hopefully that link works.
There you go. Perfect. Great.
Hey, man, thank you for any support.
It means so much.
Thank you.
It really does. It
Thank
means
you.
a lot.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Sure. So now for the next piece, and as I mentioned, it's a little bit more serious. Now we know it's very close to your heart, Lady Sussex. One, because of your background, also the history and your love for the arts, just specifically, but also just the classical arts. Around opera and ballet is a big thing. So, but unfortunately, ballerina Michaela de Prince was an inspirational and pioneering figure in ballet. Has actually died at 29 of undisclosed causes. So, de Prince was actually born in Sierra Leone and lost both of her parents as a toddler during the country's civil war, and was in an orphanage until the age of 4. And at that point, an American family actually adopted her, and she moved to New Jersey, where she started taking ballet lessons. De Prince actually made her professional debut in the Joburg Ballet in South Africa, and then became the youngest principal dancer at the Dance Theater in Harlem, which I think is just great. And in 2021, she joined the Boston Ballet as the second soloist and has appeared on TV shows with like Dancing in the Stars. She's actually performed in Beyonce's music video on Lemonade, and was also an ambassador of War Child. It's a nonprofit that helps children living in war-affected countries. So truly an inspiration.
I don't know the words because she was a giant. She brought it was like something no one have ever seen before, and to dance specifically ballet. And she, it's a great loss to our community and to many young Black girls that wants to enter the ballerina world. And it's a very difficult world, especially as a Black or brown girl. And I've been staying away from reading anything about it just because I've been following her career very closely for a very, very, very long time. Oh God. Yeah. Her spirit, she was really. I think we should go to the
clip.
I don't think I can do it.
Okay. So shall we do the clip?
Yeah.
Okay.
Each dancer has a different story, but for Michaela de Prince, hers is about overcoming. Michaela was born in Sierra Leone, West Africa. She lost both of her parents during the Civil War at the age of 3 and was left in an orphanage where she says she was taunted, neglected, and abused.
It was a moment where I just felt helpless. I had nothing.
Ballet, she says, saved her spirit.
I felt like I didn't have anything to have a future or nothing to look forward to. And then I found this magazine in the orphanage, and it was a picture of a ballerina. She looked so beautiful and so elegant, and I just wanted to find my own fairy tale.
A dream come true when she was adopted by a family from New Jersey. Michaela showed her adopted mother the photo, and she enrolled her in ballet at the age of 4.
I feel like I didn't really give her a choice. I knew I wanted to do this, and this was my passion, and I had to make sure my passion would happen.
Passion and determination. Michaela worked hard to become a professional.
Can you stop it? Because I'm getting like a feedback like where in each of ears it's playing a very different, something very different. I don't know what causing that. Can we start again?
No, I think the clip is just.
It's probably just the original audio file, yeah.
Okay, you want to continue? Go ahead, continue it then.
I think it may start from the beginning, but.
Each dancer has a different story, but for Michaela de Prince, hers is about overcoming. Michaela was born in Sierra Leone, West Africa. She lost both of her parents during the Civil War at the age of 3 and was left in an orphanage where she says she was taunted, neglected, and abused.
It was a moment where I just felt helpless. I had nothing.
Ballet, she says, saved her spirit.
I felt like I didn't have anything to have a future or nothing to look forward to. And then I found this magazine in the orphanage, and it was a picture of a ballerina. She looked so beautiful and so elegant, and I just wanted to find my own fairy tale.
A dream come true when she was adopted by a family from New Jersey. Michaela showed her adopted mother the photo, and she enrolled her in ballet at the age of 4.
I feel like I didn't really give her a choice. I knew I wanted to do this, and this was my passion, and I had to make sure my passion would happen.
Passion and determination. Michaela worked hard to become a professional ballerina, something that's difficult to do, but she says it's even harder when you don't fit the mold.
There are moments where you feel like I'm not good enough, and I had a lot of teachers saying, well, we don't really believe in black ballerinas, or we think you're going to end up getting fat with big boobs and big thighs, you should just be a modern dancer. There's a lot of people who didn't believe in me.
Michaela is one of a small number of black classical ballerinas in the world. Plus, she has vitiligo, a skin condition that takes away pigment. She says she found strength through mentors and from watching those who danced before her.
And I'm very lucky, like there was Lauren Anderson. I had somebody to look up to at Houston Ballet. Heidi Cruz at Pennsylvania Ballet when I was younger. There's also Misty Copeland. There's not a lot of us, but what I always try to think about and what my passion is spread more poppies in a field of daffodils. So to have more black and brown dancers.
Now, Michaela's perseverance paying off. Dancing on world-class stages from Johannesburg, South Africa, to becoming a soloist with the Dutch National Ballet. Making a name that landed her in British Vogue, Nike campaigns, even getting handpicked by Beyonce to dance a solo in the Freedom music video from her Lemonade album.
I did not believe it actually happened for a while. I was like, it must have been a dream. It was an incredible, especially that whole opportunity just to be surrounded by so many black and brown, beautiful women, and having that. I haven't had that in my life a lot, and that really encouraged me. And to meet Queen Bee, it was just like absolutely amazing.
Back in the ballet class, Michaela is getting ready for her next performance, hoping her passion inspires others to go for theirs.
It's for the black and brown dancers for the next generation, and I want to show everybody that you don't need to have these obstacles define you. You can be whatever you want, and you can dream as big as you possibly want to dream.
It's a massive loss to the community, to art, to dancing. We have a big show, and I can't focus on this because it's a very difficult one. So let's move on. Do you guys have anything to say and add? Sorry about the clip.
Yeah, I was about to say just the quality of the clip.
The quality of the clip. When we play, I don't understand what happened.
Yeah, I think it's just the way they have the left and right ears in terms of the audio for that clip. But I got to say, you sharing that, it definitely, watching that and hearing that she had passed, it definitely brought tears to my eyes to see what she overcame and to pursue her dreams from the beginning, to have a dream and to pursue it against all odds, against all obstacles, against people literally telling her that she was not fit to do it, and pursuing it regardless and achieving the highest levels of success. It's even aside from it's the specific example within the world of dance and arts, just in general as the human spirit, it's an incredible. She's an incredible inspiration, and it is a tremendous loss.
I think Churchinelli actually said it very well just now in a comment. She said, "Don't cry because Michaela is gone. Smile because she was here."
Yeah,
which is very true.
Yeah, and she left a long legacy at this point right now. So, yeah, we need to celebrate. But it's still a shock to me because when you admire someone, when you see what they do and the impact of it, and so let's go on.
Well, with our next section, before we kind of get into the service, which I know you have a packed agenda for us today, we will pause to say, as we always need to do, our tremendous thank yous to everyone that is in this community, everyone that is in the chat right now, everyone that has been tuning in. This community and the support that is provided is just something that we don't ever want to go without acknowledging, because we are just so tremendously grateful for it. And with that, a special thank you to all of the members who've been supporting us and helping to keep the lights on, so to speak, and saving up for that new microphone fund, and maybe for better
After
audio
listening to the
clips.
headphone, I'm thinking that we probably need everything now. Oh my goodness!
But yes, thank you so much to all of our members, and that is Patrick Hoa Marcel, who has been the longest member at 16 months now. Patrick Hoa Marcel, Marvel Walker,
What are you
R.R.
talking
Carter,
about?
yeah,
16?
16 months.
Oh my God!
Bryce Thompson, Lydia Washington, V. Brame, Antonio TC416, April Showers, Church Nelly, Black Queen, Kay Castillo, Eve Bomber, Sylvia Fielder, and Connie Bomber. We have both of the Bombers together.
We do.
That's
You're the entire
right.
Bomber.
Bonner, the Bonner family.
Alors, bonjour, merci.
Thank you
merci,
so much,
merci
Connie.
beaucoup.
Thank you so much, Connie, and to your husband, Eve, and Sylvia for also joining as a member. Really, it does mean so much. And also not those who are just listening in, and especially also those who share super stickers and chats. It does make a huge difference.
And
for us.
also, Connie, from what I understand, you tell me that she commented on you guys' latest short.
Yeah,
She did.
For
She
Planet
did.
First Action.
Yes, thank you, Connie, for checking that out and supporting it as always. You are truly incredible. Thank you.
So what is going on, guys? I mean, before we getting into it, because you guys did say you were going to have, 2 shows last
Did we
week.
say that?
Yeah, but there was nothing. What is happening? I know you guys are busy. I know you guys are preparing for Planet Week. I know you guys' schedule is insane. But what happened?
Yeah, no, well, you kind of encapsulated there. It has been a crazy summer, and it is only gearing up to be an even busier fall with everything that is going on. And part of that is because just generally what's going on in terms of climate action and work in that space right now is increasing in urgency, thankfully, because it needs to, because there is a lot of work to be done. But it is especially so right now in this moment as we head into the elections here in the U.S., as well as it's been a year of elections across the board internationally. And it is one of those topics that is central to that. And so that has been a focus for the entire community that is working in the climate space, is how to prepare for that the upcoming election. What does that mean?
What I will say to you guys, first of all, let them know what we mean for those of, people that probably online now or listening that doesn't know about you guys' channel. Could you guys talk about it and talk with the people on the chat, because I have to check on my mother. I see she's doing something weird here, and I'll be right back.
Yes, well, while Lady Sussex checks on her mother, the channel that we're referring to, the other one that Charles and I have, is called Planet First Action, and it is specifically focused on what's happening on the front lines of climate action today. New sustainability, whether it is the new technologies that are being developed, if it is decisions being made by different governments in terms of the investment, where that's going, how it's going to change communities' lives. And there's been a couple episodes that we've already released out there with featuring a number of the leaders who are working on the front lines of those policies and those technologies to help everybody understand, whether it is you're trying to build your own business, or you are coming from the investment community, or if you're just an everyday person that wants to know, how is your community going to change with all of these new technologies. There's a lot that we go into in depth into each of those interviews. And now, as we approach the election, we're trying to help make sure that it is accessible for everyone with some shorts and cuts downs. And that's what Lady Sussex had just mentioned in terms of Connie Bomber's support and comment on that. So again, thank you, Connie.
Absolutely. It's just so important for us to understand, and also for us to kind of publicize what's actually going on in just kind of the climate space right now, because it's so important to everybody. And then there's also just so much opportunity for growth and for just for success, frankly, within the entire category. That, and not only for those who are actually invested in, obviously, trying to start a business, but also for people who are actually trying to become more healthy, because, there are things like the GGRF that we've actually spent a lot of time about, and an available governmental funds that actually will help, with more electronic things and things for your family, if it happens to be for heat pumps and these kinds of things, which not only will save you money, but also are just healthier for you and your family. So it was just really important for us to kind of make sure that people just generally knew what was going on. and that we again could really step up and kind of showcase that.
Yes, and thank you for everyone who's mentioned in the chat subscribing to the Planet First Action podcast. Sylvia Fielder and Church Nelly and Connie, of course, and everyone really who's been supporting that. And again, it is one of those things where it is not just a show in terms of, wanting to talk about something that's interesting because of it is interesting. It is also a show that we are putting on, as Charles just mentioned, because it is that important for people to know what's happening. That the GGRF that Charles just mentioned, that is the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund, which is here in the U.S., is $27 billion that the government has allocated to specifically be given away to programs and initiatives and projects that would otherwise not get financing to build new electric charging infrastructure for electric vehicles, to put heat pumps into residential homes, to create new programs so that communities can get access to those benefits. And that is something that if it's there, it's happening. It actually, the money was obligated maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago at this point. But if people don't know to go look for it and go ask for it and to go and actually apply for it, it may not go to that community. And so it is one of those things where you have to know about it. You have to go and reach out and ask for it. And that's something that we're helping communities to one, know about, but then two, actually have the resources to go and engage effectively. So definitely encourage everyone to just check that out and share it also with the rest of your communities, because it is something that really can make a big difference. And we'll just pause also off of the subject of Planet First Action to just say welcome and thank you so much, V. Thomas, for joining as a member. Thank you so much for joining. And as Church Nelly said, I think welcome to the Insane Asylum, along with the rest of us.
That's right. So as you can tell, we're doing our best to stall as Lady Sussex actually helps out with her mom. So we'll be getting right back, and then also she should be coming very, very shortly. But also is that as this kind of ties back in, it's also really interesting about how actually Harry actually ties into this all as well, because he will be coming in. One of the major things that he'll be speaking about next week is actually climate and how that actually impacts things like Travelist and some of his other kind of initiatives that he has going on as well.
Yeah.
So all these things basically, again, I think it's talking about how people can kind of, do good. And that's what we're trying to do in our own small way. And then also seeing how, again, Harry's doing it for himself.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, as we've mentioned, Harry's work himself and what he's been able to do to lead on initiatives like that was an inspiration for Charles and I in terms of the work that we are doing today and how we're focused on using those resources that we have and the expertise we have to actually really apply it to what's happening on the front lines of climate action. And so that's it's something we're also grateful for Harry for his leadership on that. And just in terms of the sort of the community thank yous, it is again a pleasure to see you, Church Nelly, but I gotta ask, what is up with the mac and cheese and with the initiative to become the masseuse for his name's escaping me, but your initiatives there, Church Nelly, you gotta see it in the chat. What's going on that front?
Okay, I'm back. Hopefully she can stay still until we're done with the show, because it's going to be a long one, I think. So should we get the service started? Because we have not even started the service.
We have not.
I mean, we don't have any thing from last week we need to read.
Well, there is one.
Okay.
There's two. One short one. One is a special just thank you to Gwen Stevenson, who shared a sticker and said thank you with a donation for the channel after the fact for the Rise of a General Service. So thank you, Gwen Stevenson.
Thank you.
But also a recent comment, I'm bringing it up now, from actually Lindy Mia. And I'll read it out. It's a longer one, but it's actually, I think it's going to be a nice segue and set up for some of the other things that you have planned for today, Lady Sussex. And this was back on the service called Which Leader Will Rise for Truth and Justice. And Lindy Mia wrote, "Hi, Lady Sussex, Charles, and George. Thank you, as always, for your intelligence, your sensitivity, your compassion, and your passion for service. And thank you for the love and inspiration you share with us. God bless you, and may God continue to guide you in the good work you are doing. I came to this particular episode late. I'm trying to catch up with all the episodes I missed since your return. In regard to Charles III, my feeling is that he's a weak, broken man. Those old interviews with Charles may be evidence of youthful idealism and enthusiasm, or perhaps the interviews display a performative stance by Charles born out of a combination of personal beliefs and optimism he held at a time, mixed with his innate pride and ego as an entitled prince of the realm. In terms of what is needed now, it does not matter what Charles said then or why he voiced those aspirations. He's a weak person who has always been influenced by others around him. Likely having to wait so long to assume the meager power of British kingship has greatly embittered Charles. He is no longer vital in mind, body, or spirit. Even when he was younger, he allowed himself to be overly influenced by stronger personalities around him, especially by Camilla, which is a sad and unfortunate set of circumstances. Camilla is a flat-out narcissist, a self-interested meddler, and an adulteress. In recent years, the woeful, corrupt, vengeful characters of the current senior members of the British royal family have been irrevocably exposed. Sadly, I see no scenario in which any of them will ever change or become self-aware enough to actually seek redemption. The leadership will not come from the puppet of an ancient institution, Lady Sussex. Hopefully, positive change will come from a new generation of young people inspired by the bountiful love and service of the Sussexes. Let us pray that real leadership and change will come through the presidency of Kamala Harris.
Absolutely. I think change is coming. It's not going to be easy. It's not easy at all. It's with a fight, but I think change is coming. I do think maybe perhaps we already see a little bit of it just because the fact that, they are wishing, Harry, after all has been said, that, happy birthday. And we know that Hen was forced.
After 3 years, by the way.
After 3 years. So here we go. Bring it on. So let's get the service started. Do you want to do your disclaimer for me before I get into it? Because we're going to get into it.
Yes, and importantly, as always, we want to note that we are not experts, if that's not already abundantly clear. And while this is a church service, we are not evangelical in that we are not trying to convince anyone to change their beliefs or to change their religion. We are simply here sharing what we believe to be true and important, really to focus on asking the questions that we believe need to be asked in support of those doing the work to make the world a better place.
Right.
And also, we would encourage everyone to, as always, double check what we're saying, do your own research, kind of validate is what we're saying many times is just based on what's been alleged or what has been shared in the media, and it's always important to always important to double verify.
Absolutely, because we're here to ask questions, and hopefully that one day we'll have all the answers. We saw a glimpse of them, but I don't think we quite get it yet. So hopefully one day we will.
Hopefully soon. And one question we'll put out to the entire community just to respond to what we asked Church Nellie to share is that she has been trying to ship her son back to the hospital that he was born in. UPS has refused to take him. She had said the return to sender and label with postage included. So if anyone has any advice for Church Nellie.
You need a bigger box, I think. I think that's what that is.
To put that in the chat.
Please, Church Nellie, I need to do this show so we don't have like a 4-hour show. Oh my God. Okay. Oh my God. Okay.
You know how to make Lady Sussex blush is to just say what apparently Baron was talking about. What made Baron blush apparently.
Hey!
Church Nellie was
no.
This
is a church service here. We're not going to talk about. Okay. Okay. All right, brave. Guys. God.
We're going to keep trying to distract you, by the way.
Yeah, it's working. Please continue.
You see, Baron, what you have created? I'm going to get kicked out of this community, I swear. Charles, George, Sussex Squad, Sussex Nation. This week, we have 3 words. Normally, we'll have 2, we'll have 1. But this time, we have 3 words. But one word in particular, I wanted to combine the 2, and those 2 words are, if I could find my note. Where are the words? Where did I put that?
You're still thinking about what
Reject
what Church
and
Nelly said.
tactic.
Yeah, she's still thinking about what Church Nelly chatted in Baron's episode.
God.
I did tell you, actually.
Okay.
Oh boy, now you gave her the tickles.
Church and this is bad. This is bad. That's all Baron's fault, I swear, for reading that comment the other day. Oh my God, we at church. Lord, please help me. Oh God, praise the Lord. Anyway.
And she can't keep it together.
That might wrap up the service, folks. That might be it.
How about I just go and read it while you try and collect yourself?
Yeah, no, I have to say the words.
I
The words are rejected and tactic.
There you go.
So we want both words together to look at them to see whether or not there is a way we can describe what is happening with the media right now, or flip-flopping or pretending or appear to be a little bit balanced. I will not even go that far, actually call it balance, but sort of somehow from 1 minute they were trashing the trip to now, talking about Harry's happiness. Like, I want to have and also to understand what was that video about. What was the message that Prince of Wales and Catherine was trying to send us? What do we make of it? I wanted to have a better understanding, which is why I choose these two words. And so, please, Charles and George, can you walk us, all of us, including those of us that is online right now, the meaning of those two words, tactic, rejected.
Sure. So first and foremost, Church Nelly, what she said in regards to the laughter, she says, it's okay. She's still laughing when her pastor's teeth fell out during the middle of his sermon. So she'll just throw that out at you as well. So she's right there with you. So now in terms of rejected, it was actually the principal noun of it, of reject, is actually from the 15th century in Middle English. It was actually has a Latin derivative. And the verb basically then the first is to refuse to accept, consider, submit to, take for some purpose, or use rejected in the suggestion or rejected in a manuscript. So that's basically what it is, refuse to accept. The second is refuse to hear or receive or admit. The third is to refuse as a lover or to refuse as a spouse. The next is actually, it means obsolete or to cast out or to cast off. The third is basically to throw back or repulse is another great word that they have of that in terms of what is it as a derivative. Or the fourth is to spew out, or the fifth is actually to subject to an immunological reaction. So basically your body rejects something.
Mm-hmm.
So that's more or less kind of what it is. And then obviously rejected is basically when you apply that particular idea to a person or a thing.
Right. But I mean, is that how we should describe what we are seeing happening? Because I felt like in the beginning, they did the rejecting as if like we are rejecting Harry, we are rejecting, Meghan. And all of a sudden, it seems like they didn't realize the embrace that is happening not only by the squad and everyone around the world, but now it seems like it's been flipped on their head, where now it's the royals that who's been rejected, and now they're having problem accepting that rejection. Should I look at it this way? How do we explain where they are right now? What is happening that we cannot seem to put our hands on it? And the fact that, they don't know which way to go. They don't know. I mean, they keep doing attack. There's so much attack you can do on Harry and Meghan and then not looking horrible. Where is that attack? Is it the fact that they cannot accept the fact that, you know what, they are mediocres, some of them?
Yeah, it's interesting because from my point of view,
alors, excusez-moi, you know, to say, I'm not saying the royal family are mediocres, but I'm talking about in terms what they are presenting now, the work that they are presenting right now. When you put Harry and Meghan work, there is something here that is very, very totally different.
for sure.
Totally different, because it seems like when Harry said that, you know what, and Meghan said service is universal. And I think where that was coming from is that as though they wanted to own that word. They wanted to be, oh, it's only royals that would do services. I feel like this is where that was coming from. And then reproving, not just only the squad, Harry and Meghan is proving, service is really universal. And if we put on the work that we are doing versus the work you guys are doing, it's night and day.
For sure. For me, it's an interesting idea when you start thinking about the principal parties behind this thing, right? Because you have Harry and Meghan, and then you have kind of the royal establishment. And I include the family and obviously the media behind that. And so for me, when you start thinking about rejection, you look at it from a matter of perspective. Because it's like, okay, well, who's rejecting whom, right? So who's actually the principal architect about, you know, trying to push that person away or a thing away? Who's trying to push it away, right? So, and when you think about it at first, it's like, okay, well, you can analyze the subject. You analyze the subject matter. So you have the media and the establishment basically always saying all these nasty things, right? But they never stop. They're always there. And then you have Harry and Meghan, which is like, bye. And like they left. They don't bring it up anymore. Like they're done.
That kind of rejection,
they are done.
They did not expect, because if you think about everything that happened, it's been saying the idea is that they was going to call back, and that never happened.
Well,
you know, the kind
from
of
my point of view,
success-
what I'm saying is that actually it doesn't seem like actually the establishment actually even rejected them. Like the true rejection is what this actually says, is to refuse to submit, refuse to accept.
That's right.
And they left.
Exactly.
That is true rejection, is when
Yes.
they just basically checked out and it's like, you know what,
And they said
I'm
no.
done. I'm done, and they cut it. Versus like these other people, like the establishment is literally nipping at their heels to what you said earlier, Lady Sussex, which is the fact they need them because that's actually the good press. That's actually where people are coming from. That's actually where they get their money, is because people are interested in what they are doing, and then they can't reject them for that matter because they need them. Versus Harry and Meghan do not need them.
That's why, and I think it's something that's been seen a lot lately, and even Barron very often will say this, is that, you know, how they cannot report a story on any of the other royals without attaching, you know, Harry and Meghan to it. It's almost like, you know what, that's the only way for anyone to pay attention to anything else that they're putting out there. And that's included to the latest of what's happening, why I have a problem with the whole situation, you know, with the, you know, cancer-free video. I guess that's what we should call it. Do you understand what I mean? And I'm really having, it's like I feel almost offended, not because I am, you know, have anything particularly against, you know, Princess of Wales. You know, we've been praying for her here. And I'm so happy that, you know what, if she find healing and she's doing good, and because her kids need her. And, you know, I mean, she's a young mom. And so, you know, I'm happy for that. But it's there is something that I would like to get into as we continue, you know, talking about this, that I'm starting feeling not just uncomfortable, but there's something there.
You know, it's funny. You
And I want to figure out what that is that's making me unease about this.
You know, it just finally came to my head just now as you were talking, in terms of like, what is that feeling best described as? And this is probably a term that everyone listening in, a lot of people will be familiar with already, but it's not usually describing this type of situation, but it seems like it fits. Is actually the term uncanny valley. An uncanny valley is that sort of description of when something has been computer generated or is AI, and it is very, very close to reality, it is like so almost close to spot on, but there's something off. There's something that's not quite right that makes it clear that it's not real. But
It's
you
like
don't
the
know.
Truman Show.
Yeah, I think we're saying the movie the Polar Express when it first came out. There was a lot of uncanny value with the way that the visuals were coming through in that. And there's something about that video and how it was put together, the voiceover, the images, everything is just something seems very it's like uncanny valley kind of uneasiness about it.
That's right, and I'm gonna get into it once you.
Yes, well, before
let me know.
as a slight digression, we're going to say hello and thank you for subscribing, Elaine Parker. It is wonderful to have you here, and thank you for sharing the link, Lydia. Hello, Mama Jane. Hello, Joanne Baker. Hello, everyone. Cookies and Cream. It's so wonderful to have you all joining. And we saw also Mrs. Clutch Sussex that you joined in our live, but you mentioned you lost your place. So we'll when you catch up to this part, hello.
Hello. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, and so I actually love the fact that you combined these two words, rejected and tactic, because it actually they connect in two different ways. One is the rejection itself as a tactic, and then there's also the sort of what do you then do when you experience rejection. And I think this is it's a very interesting journal article called Co-Interpreting Rejection. It's published in a review of General Semantics by Leal Crawford in 1988, actually. And it's interesting because it applies to actually everyone in the space right now in terms of what the Sussex Squad is doing, what Harry and Meghan are doing, what the royal family are doing, what the tabloid media are doing, in terms of how do they think about it and how do they navigate this. But it's an interesting sort of way of phrasing it. And so it opens up by saying that most of us experience setbacks. Semantic strategies can be especially useful when encountering circumstances construed as failures. We need strategies that promote a constructive state of mind, an effective frame of reference for managing rejection. We need to co-interpret experiences as an apparent rejection or failure in a way that empowers rather than debilitates us. We can choose effective or ineffective ways to handle rejection. We can choose ineffective ways that exacerbate circumstances and ways that also improve it. And if you go on a little bit farther down, there's a quote that the author pulls out saying, so an effective way of empowering ourselves when we face our own little pile of ashes is to realize in John White's words that rejection comes in many shapes, some very strange and by many, and strange paths, bringing more good than evil. It need not be, and usually isn't, the final push over the cliff. It can be, and usually is, a momentary and valuable setback, a time of learning, sharpening, and strengthening. And so that kind of struck me as the importance of the rejection that is being provided right now by the Sussex Squad and by many across the world in terms of just rejecting the narrative that the tabloid media is trying to push, and that actually being something that's valuable for the tabloids to learn from. And I know you're going to get into that. But there's also there's the rejection as a tactic in and of itself, but then there's also the tactics that we employ when we experience that rejection. So looking at what the tabloids are doing right now, seeing the reaction from what they have been putting out there, and how are they then changing course. I know Barron covered this, and we're going to talk about that as well in terms of their operations here in the U.S., but also in terms of the overall narrative that they're trying to push. And so there's an important connection between the role of rejection and how it becomes sort of how do you tactically engage it.
It's when you watch the video, you've seen the video. Like, I mean, there have been before them, sort of family, sort of, royal, video around and stuff like that, whatever, so have you. So they're not the first one to do something like this, but not about cancer. Do you understand what I mean? Not about cancer. It's very obviously, in my opinion, what is happening there that, looking at the trip in Colombia to see Harry and Meghan Love at play and just, it's just the willness, the feeling of it, like it makes you want to love. It makes you to want to have someone holding you. It's incredible. There was the authenticness. So, of course, they have been accused, and I'm talking about, the Wells, that, they copy everything Harry and Meghan does. And so, whether or not this video, in the mix of announcing that, you know what, I am free of cancer, I'm not sure she exactly says she's free. It's just there was some way, the way the word is like you don't know, are you not, or you know. I know she did say that, you know, she wanted to stay cancer free. So I'm assuming that, you know, she's I don't know how one
She's finished her
stay.
treatment. I think
She's
is what
finished
she
her
said.
treatment. It was so confusing, but what I was looking at, as everyone else had described it, it was a commercial for, you know, Summer Eves, or maybe sort of, you know,
Did you
a
just call it a Summer
shampoo.
Eve commercial?
Well,
Wow.
there was a lot of femininity. There was a lot of beautifulness. It was like summer. It was vacation. It was beautiful. It was a very, in some aspect of the video, was beautiful. If you can remove, you know, Prince of Wales from it, that who looks like he didn't belong, feels very uncomfortable. He looks uncomfortable there. So it was, but if you looked at it as a commercial and you looked at it as like, you know, I don't know how to describe it. It was nice, but it was not supposed to be of announcing to the world that you are cancer free. And the reason probably why I am saying, because I feel like she was speaking to the world, and that's included me here, that, you know, and I feel the need to respond how I receive her message. Yes, I'm happy for her. Yes, oh my God, God bless, you know, sort of, you know, blessing on her and continuing. Hopefully, she stay cancer free. But what I cannot have, it's knowing what's happening in our community right now and see people are suffering. Me just losing my aunt and understand the devastation. And every single day, you have someone, you know, just diagnosis and what that meant. And when you get out of it, you know, what it means for you and for your family. And to see someone with all that privilege, with everything that, you know, that she's afforded that no one else does, in a video that nobody understands, versus sitting with someone from the media, having an interview and talk about your treatment, talking, you know, have like real sincere talk. I think we would appreciate that. I think there would have been a lot more meaningful have she had gone that route.
Yeah, well, to your point of what you said earlier, and I think actually we're getting a lot of comments that agree in the chat as well. It was a commercial.
It was.
It was a straight up commercial, is what it was. And so, especially, and I think just to kind of tie it back, I think to what you were saying, is that what makes it so unsettling is that you have such a serious, widespread issue that it has touched everyone. Everyone has gotten or knows someone who has gotten this terrible, terrible disease. And it has disrupted so many families. And you take such a serious matter and then you try to equate it with a commercial, which is just so inauthentic about what the experience was and is for so many other people. And so I think it just reads fake, one, and two, it just unsettles a lot of people because it doesn't make sense. Those, you know, what you're experiencing in that video does not make sense towards the experience of what that is.
That's right. I mean, even if you sort of want to celebrate that you are free of it, there, the real people. My God.
Well, the problem is it's inauthentic on two different dimensions. It's inauthentic because on the one hand, and this is what a lot of the media themselves, the tabloids themselves, are actually going against Kate for this, and I know you're going to get into that, but it's like if you're going to put out a video or any sort of statement that is focused on the fact that you have gone through your treatment, that you are now working to stay cancer free, that should be matched by your responsibilities as a working royal to go and empower and champion that issue for others, for the organizations who are working to support people who are fighting cancer, whether it is from fundraising events or if it is even just being with the communities that are affected. As someone who has now gone through that is basically what is expected of working royals. And the fact that there is nothing there that she's doing that is on out there widely known by anyone, by at least in that regard, that makes it inauthentic in terms of it being, I'm going to put out this statement because I'm a working royal, but I'm also not matching it with my actions. The other part of it that's inauthentic is just how much of it was focused on the so-called romance and love and affection between them, because it even in the picture that's on the screen with the rejected and tactic word, it's like you don't see it. There's
not
there.
So much
it's
wrong
very forced
about this, and I want to get in even deeper to see what behind it all. But before we do that, should we move into the word tactic? Because I want to see, is it a tactic, or should we just because the backlash of this was fierce and fury. It was, and I think, again, as I said again, this is why I blame Baron, because again, he does an incredible job. But we also have, Murad Mehali, that's another content creator on YouTube who did a reporting. But what was really interesting about his reporting, which also Royal Sussex cover, it's the involvement of the man that I really don't want to say his name here, but everyone knows he liked to say or have saying the calls are coming from inside the house. So I think we should play more Halley.
Okay.
But Dan Wootton, William and Catherine only ever released the video because of the ugly rumours spread about their marriage by Harry and Meghan, their allies in the media and gang of internet trolls to the Sussex squad. This is a message that he has for the Daily Mail. He continues, the Daily Mail has fallen, literally poached an awful columnist from the Daily Telegraph to run puff pieces on Prince Harry, who is suing their asses off, to try get the madman to see sense. Pathetic. Don't know who the madman is, but Dan is clarifying to the world what everybody's been always saying, that the Daily Mail are attacking Harry and Meghan because they're suing them. They're poaching different columnists from different press in the UK and said, listen, we will give you this appearance fee. We'll give you this column fee. And I will be going live tonight, by the way, discussing this 1-2 a.m. GMT time, just to see what you guys are stating. But that they poach these people from different press platforms and say, listen, run a piece on Harry because he's suing. Run a piece on Harry because he's XYZ. Don't know why Dan has come out to burn the house down, but that's basically what it's giving in this, scenario, and I just find it to be bizarre. He does admit that the reason why Kate and William did this entire video was to show the world that they are as intimate as Harry and Meghan, and therefore they are jealous of Harry and Meghan, watching Harry and Meghan, and want to put those divorce rumors to bed.
Where is this coming from? Because coming from him, I mean, there was no reason, no need to, to mention Harry in his report the way he did, but he literally burned the house down. This was a confessions.
That's like that expression they use sometimes.
This was a confession.
They use that expression.
We just had a confession. One that, not one need that, excuse me, I'm sorry, but that we now can use because of his involvement with the media. And for him to say something like that, we know how well connected that he is with the palace and the media. That was really a confessions. That they're literally putting things out just to talk bad about Harry and Meghan. And what's going on about the Sussex squad? We actually were just sitting down, could not believe the report that was coming out, and all of a sudden we are getting blamed. What is happening? Please go ahead.
No, I mean, I think that it's a confession, but it's also that expression that's used over here in especially when talking about politics and different sides of the aisle. People say that sometimes when someone says something or makes a statement, they're saying the quiet part out loud. And they're saying the thing that is part of a strategy that's not always supposed to be said publicly, but is part of what they're doing. It's like, it's a bit like he just said the quiet part out loud. It's like, yeah, everyone kind of knows that was the idea, but to actually admit it and to say it and to call them out on it is something else entirely.
This man just threw bomb. Last week how I was trying to looking at for a word that they say here and I couldn't remember. It's like red meat. He just threw red meat. I guess that's a phrase that they call here. this is insane for him to say that. You can't blame the Sussex Rod for this. You are saying the royal family is the reason why that Harry and Meghan are being attacked. Am I? Please help me here because you guys are looking at me like you cannot believe I just say something bad. But really, I mean, did I say something bad here?
No, I mean, and honestly, it's not even what you said. It's what Dan Wooten said. That's the whole point. It's the fact that he's put this out and said that the Daily Mail is actually poaching these columnists and having them write pieces specifically because of the difference in the contrast between Harry and Meghan and Will and Kate.
And to prove my point, to see, I mean, we didn't even have to do the work to dismantle or to even speak about what is happening with this video because they did it all for ourselves. We're just reporting it. And I'm going to let Royal Sussex, who does incredible work, and again, you know, explain. Even him could not foresee what just, it's almost like what just happened here. So let's play Royal Sussex.
Richard Eden's verdict on Kate Middleton's manipulative film from Palace Insider and Charles's friends, and why I'm deeply concerned about this grossly PR strategy, this public relations strategy. You guys, I could not have predicted days ago that so many of these dominoes would fall. But if you notice, they only fall for Kate, never William. William is not allowed to fail. They will leave Kate twisting in the wind, but never William. Kate is not beyond reproach. They will tear her down in a heartbeat. Just like the photo, the Franken photo. Well, William took credit for the photo before it was found out that that photo was just a bunch of bits and pieces and body parts, like the Frankenstein monster. And then all of a sudden, they disassociated that photo from William. And eventually, Kate was the one who apologized.
I mean, seriously, is it true what he said?
Yeah,
they are putting it all on Kate. It is Kate's fault.
Well, I think he phrased it quite well. William is not allowed to fail.
But my thing is, I wonder, is it true? Is it true they believe that now? Because I could not see a world, especially the world we are in right now, where Williams being a part of each of these different things, whether it's the pictures, whether it's the video, and somehow people going to look at this and say somehow it's all her fault. William was a part of the picture. In fact, he took credit for taking the pictures and say nothing. And I'm sure people ask questions about it, think about it, even if they don't say anything. And I'm sure the media themselves, they're not stupid people. They understand that, you know what, people at large, people out there have to be looking at, you know, Williams. Even though they make it all about, you know, Kate, not that I'm taking for her. But we can see, we saw the play, we understand the play, we get it. And people out there get it too.
Yeah, I think that's just like another thing, another log on the fire about why this feels so inauthentic, is because, you know, we mentioned this a couple times, and I think it still rings true. I mean, I think we just kind of keep on because the media doesn't have a new playbook. They're still using the same playbook they had for the last 50 years. And what that is like, okay, we'll just keep pushing all this stuff, thinking that they're the only people in this ecosystem that has a voice, and that they're going to be the de facto, truth, because they can just keep on flooding people with all this propaganda. And the fact is that that's no longer the case. There's so many other venues and platforms out there where you can actually see alternative views for everything, that people can make up and see what they believe to be true. And I think this video is just so emblematic of that, because, you can look out there and just realize there's so many other cases where obviously this, rosy picture is not true. If you look at them in any other public setting, William and Kate do not look at each other that way. And not once.
And that's probably what makes a lot of feel uncomfortable. You can't possibly have the last few years that we had to have, looking at the two of them, together, see the uncomfortable that very often, Prince of Wales felt being around his wife, in my opinion, in my view, based on the pictures that I've seen, to one time seeing Kate sort of pull away from her husband in a way that you could only describe it, that there is something not right. And not that I don't want to get into these people marriage, whatever is going on with them. But the reason why I'm mentioning this, because I know if it was Harry and Meghan, where every moves they make, it's been scrutinized. And the fact that, they've been trying to convince us, in some ways, how Harry wanna run away, don't want to be around, this controlling woman, do not sort of, like, they've been trying to tell us that, somehow that maybe perhaps Harry doesn't even like his kids. Because, and it's, what else? If you keep saying that, hey, Harry wants to come back, he wants to come back, and not mentioning his wife, not mentioning his kids. So what you're telling us really that, maybe that he doesn't like his kid and he doesn't like his wife and he want to run away. But I don't know if that is the case. A man that will serve two, and I can understand, a man that, will fly the kind of, helicopter that he does, a businessman, a leader man, and somehow cannot run away, that I don't really quite get their argument here. But I have to see it that way. Because if you think this man will leave his kids, something that he's always wanted it to have, and you want him to leave without his kids, then what you all try to convince us and tell us somehow that he doesn't like his children. Am I wrong to look at it this way?
No, I don't think so at all. And I think just while on the subject of Harry in particular in this portion of the service, just to acknowledge and agree with everyone that's been sharing in the chat that yes, it is Harry's birthday today, and the focus should be on celebrating Harry and all of his incredible accomplishments. And part of that also is, as the Sussex Squad, the responsibility that so many of these wonderful content creators in this community has taken on of being the monitor, being the record keeper of what is the other narrative that's trying to be put out. And I think that's actually gets to the heart of what I know you were thinking about, Lady Sussex, when it comes to this video and how we might want to think about it. Because part of it maybe isn't just about its designs around its impact in this moment right now, but it as something that can potentially be pointed to.
I don't think that, me having this discussion here and somehow diminish, this massive, important day, for Harry and all his success. I think, in fact, what I'm here to do and want to do, and I don't often talk about those two, is that to make sure that, the media understanding that, we are listening, we are watching, and highlighting what we are highlighting about those two. It's make sure that, they understand where we stand when it comes to Harry and Meghan. And I think that kind of celebration to allow them to be able to celebrate
Exactly.
is by standing up in front and said, you know what, we are looking at you. And I think they're going to have an incredible day and we're going to talk about it. But that's not something that, we can sort of, just say, oh, we're done with that. Yes, there has been incredible report that's done over the week, about this. But I feel like there is something else that I'm seeing I wanted to add on. And I'm not, there quite yet because there's some stuff that I want to say. But that could be the reason why. And we should really put a pin on it. And I'm going to get to that.
Yeah, and
but
just as
I'm going to talk about it because I think it's really, really important.
It is. And to your point, it is to enable Harry and Meghan to celebrate his birthday, to have that some peace of mind. It is part of that is in no small part is because of the work of the Sussex Squad of calling out the tabloid media and keeping watch
and making record, creating record. Because the only reason why we have been able to defend them the way we do is because not only we talk about, but we keep those records. And what's coming out right now with that confessions, with that visual that we just saw, with that insult that we just seen for many people, or uncomfortable, however you want to call it, it's one that, we need to talk about because when they try to attack, Harry and Meghan, so we can make sure that, we actually dissect everything they've been putting and put it back in their face. And so to me, there is no other way that I could see myself celebrating these two incredible couple and just say, you know what, don't worry about what these people are saying because look what they're doing. You are the model. You are what they try to achieve. You are they are copying everything that they do.
Exactly.
And to be honest, if Harry and Meghan love somehow, goes for, his brother feel like, maybe now he needs to show how much he loves his wife. Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah, is it an inspiration to his brother?
If what they've been able to do, what Harry and Meghan has been able to do and show their love and make people want to fall in love, want to believe in love, if somehow inspire his brother, that is a great thing.
Exactly.
Hooray for Harry for that. And so we should talk about it. Although I have a feeling there is something underneath of it.
Well, before you keep going, because it's just everyone listening in that Lady Sussex and Charles are looking at me like I'm crazy because I've got my my screen here turned 180 degrees almost. To call out a comment that was put in the chat by Diane Hawkins actually. For the picture that was in the bottom left, that's now the main picture on the screen. If you look at the arm that's under on William's shoulder in that picture,
right?
Diane said it looks like it's a child's arm, and it doesn't actually look like it's attached to Kate's body. And so when you go to that uncanny valley comment about things being very close to being seeming real but not being quite real, that might be getting to the heart of that again right there in terms of if you really look closely at that picture, what it looks like.
We're not here to say what's going on, whether it's real or not real. But what I will say is this is making us very, very uncomfortable because the William that we have come to know the last few months and seeing what is happening when the two of them together, not really sort of holding, her hand, not getting her up the steps or down the steps or walking in front of her or not sort of, things that, you would expect two couples showing up, in a place and you see them together versus like, we've seen it all. I have not seen anything about it, but it's not like we're unable to see that. Versus when you looked at Harry and Meghan, it's very obviously, this is a couple. And it's not like they are putting on a show. It's just them. They find comfort around each other. They are showing up. They are a team. And not to say the Welses are not a team, but that's not what they are showing. And so when you now all of a sudden present to us this video, and I wish they had done it in a very different time. Maybe after she come out and speak about cancer and things like, maybe life after, maybe something like that would have been received very differently. If they had done that same video after she, sort of come out and have a great interview, and then maybe 2, 3 months, 6 months later, you're checking in and see what she's been doing, how she's enjoying life with her family, then that would have been received really well. I would applaud. And again, if Harry and Meghan inspire them to show us that they love each other, well, good on them. That's a good thing.
Yeah, but to your point, I mean, do we need this Hallmark movie? That's what this is. This is like a Hallmark movie. I mean, it just doesn't. It just seems out of place.
Whatever float their boats.
It just seems out of place.
Yeah.
So,
but I think we need to move to tactic because I
Yes.
really want to sort of get into why I think it's at play here.
okay. So what a tactic is first of all, it was actually coined in the 16th century, and from a noun perspective, it's a device for accomplishing an end, which I think is quite straightforward. And then the second definition for it is a method of employing forces in combat. Okay, Harry knows what that is quite well. And from an adjective perspective, it's of relating to an arrangement or an order, or a pattern, or showing an orientation or movement directed by a specific force or agent.
I think I need you to say it again because there's something that I'm missing here. Go ahead. Say it again.
Okay. From a noun perspective, it's a device for accomplishing an end.
Mm-hmm.
How you actually get to what you're trying to do. Or a method of employing force in combat.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the first two. From an adjective perspective is basically, relating to an arrangement, or relates to an order of things, or a pattern, how it actually relates to a pattern. And then the third here is basically showing an orientation or a movement directed by a specific force, or directed by a specific agent.
That is the last one I'm going to come in on that. George, Charles, George. Go ahead.
What's your name? Hand of coffee?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I think when it comes to, again, the idea of tactics and trying to think about that in the context of what everyone in the tabloids and the royal family, what is actually being done today, and thinking about them as tactics. There's an interesting source, again, where one of the most common places you find a review of tactics and strategy when it comes to war. And this is a work that was reviewed. The reviewed work is On Tactics, A Theory of Victory in Battle by B.A. Friedman, and it was reviewed by Dominic J. Carasillo. And it's an interesting little excerpt from this. It says, as the book begins, Friedman immediately rebukes the age-old belief that tactics in general are too technical to catch the theorist's eye. He claims that there has never been a true tactical theorist, a belief that drove him to unveil that tacticians are less about science and more about art, that one should turn the science behind the production into art. To support this claim, Friedman expertly weaves what he defines as the tactician's trinity of sources, doctrine, personal experience, and the experiences of others. And that he says that if tactics make up strategy and tactics are chosen or modified based on strategy, there is an integral need, therefore, for a theory that addresses both of those elements. And just thinking about if that idea of the tactics are informed by the strategy, then what is the greater strategy behind the decision to have this video and to release it? And what is the thinking there? And then if it is something that is then informed itself by what has been done in the past, personal experience of the people that have done it, and the experiences of others. Those are all the sources that are informing that role of that tactic. And that is something that is necessarily part of a broader strategy. Brings to mind the question again of what else might be there? What is the reason for it?
Absolutely. So looking at everything right now, looking at both words, and see the confusions for everyone, and not being able to explain, and to listen to Baron explaining and sort of make note that how they are blaming it all on Kate, when the Prince of Wales, it's a participant in those two actions, the video and as well the photo. And no one is talking about that. For me, when I looked at the video and I was trying to see what is making me feel uncomfortable, what is that video is telling me, it's almost like what I feel like there is a crying out for help here. I know one of the things that the Sussex Squad and many people have been talking about, it's the possibly arrangement that may be going on between, sort of Kate and Williams, I guess, oh my goodness, because there's been rumors, maybe there is divorce. I don't know that to be true. I don't know, and I don't really want to be too much talking about that. But I also know there were so many rumors that was going on. There was a lot going on about her own health. When she said that, she's like, well, she didn't say she diagnosed it with cancer. She said there was cancer present. And so she was doing hold on. She was doing
preventative
care. Right? That's what she said. And there were so many things. And we were asking, where is Kate? Where is Kate? We need proof of life. There's a lot was going on. But there's so much that was happening around that time. And if any of these things are true, whether or not what we had seen one day when Princess of Wales show up at one of the event and he was going back and forth balancing and nobody understand what was going on. The fact that, the media was talking about, what was they saying is that, about some type of killing that, Prince of Wales have nothing to do with it, to, sort of, people's fear what was going on with his wife. And there was so many speculation. We don't know anything. They do. Those two couples only knows what happened. But it's very obviously there's something fishy that's going on. And I wonder if that video was only made not really truly for Kate, but for Williams. And please, Sussex Right, listen to what I'm saying. Because when you think about it, or at least in my view, how I see it, I don't know that to be true, but if you think about it, they need a record. They need to have Catherine on record if for whatever the reason, something that have happened in their marriage that will cause them divorce, or for whatever the reason, something that happened that we don't know, we've been speculating about. They want to have her on record to say that, how incredible Williams has been, how supportive Williams had been. And so if you have that, if you have on record that she is saying that, then you cannot come back and blame him for anything's done, because it's very obvious that, you could say, well, wait a minute, what are you talking about? She said, how supportive that, what he's been throughout her marriage, through everything and all that, how much that she depend on him. And there is so much. I don't really feel like this video, which I'm sure was not approved by Catherine. It had to be approved by the higher up. And now they are blaming Catherine for it. And I'm sure that, she's part responsible because she said yes. Whatever that deal was, or if she was, really wanted to do this herself, I don't know. But it's almost like I feel like there is more into these videos. And I'm not so sure, in my opinion, It was just about her announcement because it just didn't make sense. I feel like, they will create documents for, or the lack of document that there is out there when it comes to their marriage. And there was so much speculation and what may be going on there, what Prince of Wales may or may not have done. And the only way you're going to replace this is by showing how in love they are, how family oriented they are, and having Catherine herself saying there's nothing there. In fact, he's been incredible. Because we did not see him at the bench with her when she's making her announcement. And then here in this video, we at no time, or maybe I missed it, he could have said a few words in that video to say how much how proud he is, to, sort of how strong his wife is, and, sort of he couldn't be happy. He could have said something. Nothing. Crickets. And when you're looking at the pictures and see almost how uncomfortable he seems to be in the video, why would he want to be there if he's so supportive of his wife? Why was he look so uncomfortable being in that video? And maybe perhaps that, the Princess of Wales got maybe what she wanted, has been reported. Maybe there is some type of structure there. I don't know. I don't want to get into deep into that. But what I'm saying is, I wonder the same way that, they copy, or what been reported, that they copy everything Harry and Meghan does for their own record, because then you can't ever say that they didn't do it themselves. Is this video was truly for Catherine, or was it for the Prince of Wales? That is my question. I don't know. But I'm saying I would like to hear if anybody has anything to say on the chat.
Well, there was someone who already said, and let me just see if I can go back up here and get the right one. And perhaps, George, you can catch me before I get it. But basically, he said that actually is very interesting and you have a great point.
That was Majesty Sussex Report.
There you go. Yeah, Majesty Sussex Report is what he said. So you could be onto something. Is actually what they mentioned. So, and then also just to give a quick paraphrase of what you talked about, and correct me if I'm wrong, please, is to boil all that down. Did he need some sort of evidence, some sort of proof that they had a strong relationship?
That's right.
Did he need something? Because right now, it doesn't seem that there's anything there. That they're at this point, they felt that they, being kind of the institution, the firm, felt that he needed some sort of evidence, some sort of foundation to justify the fact that they had a healthy marriage in order to counteract any kind of situation that may occur in the future.
That's right, because the blame, because we don't know, we're not in these people's marriage. We could only see what they present to us, to the world. And what we have seen thus far just doesn't look good, although they project all that to Harry and Meghan. But we can see, we have eyes, we can see, we can, sort of, we're not kid here, we get it. Many of us, a lot of us knows what healthy relationship look like when you see it. And we also understand that, when things are not right, what that looks like. Do you understand what I mean? And so, and there's some of it that, you could do so much of hiding it before it comes out. But what we have been seeing, unless they put a true, really real acting that to make it appear to be that, there is a problem when there's not a problem. Do you understand what I mean? It's really weird now all of a sudden that, you are giving us that. But God forbid, because with the history of everything that, we have heard of about this man's temperament and what may or may not happen, sort of, I don't know, all that is speculation on my part. I'm only reporting what I've seen and what people talk about, or what pictures the press sometimes play game with them and show us and not say anything about, like maybe like a cut on this woman fingers, and we never know that they said that it was from tripling and her jumping, to sort of a picture that sort of highlight a cut that was not explained. And I don't know, but there is sign and have been reported. Even Harry himself have reported stuff that will make you wonder. Again, I don't know. I'm not present. I didn't see none of that. But I wonder if that is the reason we need now, not just only to show that, what a family that, we are, what the love, that, we share, but having her specifically, because there was so much her talking about Williams versus how her kids felt. How do they take it? Do they know? How it's almost, I feel like in the video that somehow Catherine was screaming out or say something like help, so to speak, because there is a part of me that is feel like, and maybe the Sussex Squad maybe kill me for this, and I'm going to say it anyway, is that Catherine needs the Sussex Squad. And I believe that they understand that. I think that, at the way the Sussex Squad come out and demanding to see her, and in my opinion, that is the reason why that they had to produce her. I think she understood really well, no matter how much, difference, and no matter how much that, we disagree with her, and we sort of like, but we are looking. We are looking, and I think a part of them knows that, what was that? We're going to come out, because right now we're already asking questions. We're already asking, why is it that, she's the only person getting blamed for it? I have a feeling that, they understand, and I'm talking about Kate Camp, that we are not hateful people here. We just want fair and balance here. We were tired of penning these two women, and of course, she played a part of it too. And we're not going to make like, as if like she did not, because she had an opportunity to stand up for, Megan. The idea that, you will stay there and not say to the palace, I don't care how much control that palace had on you, to be accepting the fact that, it was put out there that, Megan make you cry, when it was the opposite and not saying anything. That is not something for me that she can ever explain. So I'm not going to pretending here, somehow she didn't play a part of accepting that, because she's a growing up woman. But at the same token, I wonder, is she misinformed? Because really right now, to see how the press, yes, William is, out of the question. But they are all coming at her now. Because if you can clear Williams, then she's fair game. And whatever happened or going to happen or whatever that in the works that we don't know, Williams is really clear from everything because his wife said so. You cannot say, well, he was a bad husband from not being there in the bench with her no more. You cannot say that, he was out partying and things like that, whatever the case is. Well, she's saying that, he's been very supportive.
Right. It exonerated.
Exactly.
It exonerated him, for sure.
Am I seeing it wrong? Or am I thinking too much about these people when I have no business? And as I said, maybe I should focus on Harry and Meghan and Harry's birthday today. But like, I feel like I needed this
I honestly, I think it is critically important because it is something that could be very easily overlooked, and it is one of the things that we've talked about a lot in your services, Lady Sussex, is the importance of what the Sussex Squad has done in calling out and documenting certain things. Because if what you've kind of asked the question about, if that were the case, that really this is simply created to create a record of evidence that could be then pointed to. If you go down, hypothetically, go down a few years from now, and something has happened, and the tabloids, whoever it is, any media that wants to represent, can go back and pull all of those screenshots that are on the screen right now, all of these wonderful pictures of this loving family, and cite Kate's own words that are in this video, and use that as some reference point to justify that this was actually the nature of that relationship. Anyone who has more important things to think about during their day when it comes to how they pay their bills, as they put food on the table, how they do their work, take care of their family, they're not going to spend enough time to really go and look and double check that each of those things are actually true. And that's an important distinction because that is something that cannot be faked. I mean, Lavertha August asked whether or not we're discussing the art of fake and fakery, and that is something that is a really good question, because when it comes to Harry and Meghan, what they have that you can't fake it. You can't not like create that authenticity is, even just from a purely documentary perspective, all of the incredible videos that capture their love and their the authenticity of their relationship from people's cell phones. You know, think about the trip in Colombia. People actually record and capture Harry and Meghan dancing or them holding hands or whatever it is. Those are not produced. That is real life, just captured in the footage. And this, what they've tried to create here with this, could be cited in a tabloid article, but it's not something that is backed up by anything that is, verifiable and as truly authentic.
And again, the reason why I come to that, my own conclusion to this, is because after all the backlash, what we notice is all of a sudden that, what been saying is that, she's really not doing really well. She's still not out of the whole, we should not look too into the fact that, she's not great. She's not going to show up, and like there's so much like, she's not good. She's not doing well. Well, if she's not doing well, and we are almost like, leave it open to what may or may not happen to this woman, which means this woman, when you say to somebody she's not out of the, oh God, what is going on?
The puppies are contributing to the podcast today.
That's right. So if you are sort of, putting the words out that this woman is not well, right? So what are you saying to us? There is a possibility something can happen, and God forbid, and I hope not, and we'll continue to pray for her safety. We'll pray for her health. But let's just say we find ourselves in a situation like that. You're going to need that montage video to actually show their love, them being with their kids, which what very often happen when you see a celebrity or someone that, sort of who passed on, or sort of when you looked at, Princess Diana, video clip and everything, when they, the report on that, and to show her with her kids and doing all that, and they're still showing these things. So I wonder, is that's what we are seeing here? Is that video was specifically made for a moment like this, whether it's now or future?
No, yeah, I think that's exactly it. It was curated propaganda, pure and simple. It is something that they orchestrated in order to paint a picture for posterity, and I think it can serve multiple purposes.
It's back to that rejection.
Oh, and I do want to actually do that, actually. I want to welcome Lady Rose as a new member.
Welcome, Lady Rose. Thank you
so
so
much.
much for
so
joining.
much, Lady Rose.
Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate it, for sure, as you listening to all of our stuff.
And as Church Nelly said, for both of our new members today, welcome to the insane asylum with the rest of us.
True.
It is insane. Yeah. So I
don't we actually have a clip that we want to go?
Yes, we do, because we need to move on, because there's a clip again, Baron playing. It just we need to go to that. Let's go to that.
All right.
Let's see. This is Ingrid Seaweed or something like that. Seaweed. And then the other one, Jeannie Bond. We heard that one yesterday, the one that I referred to as Piranha Face. Um, you know what? She's gonna lose her nickname in just a minute. Um, but let me play this for you.
Majesty Magazine and royal biographer Ingrid Seward. Okay, Ingrid, let's jump straight in. So Prince Harry, we know he's in Montecito, and we know there's going to be some huge party for turning 40. His father won't be there. His brother won't be there. How do you imagine Prince Harry is going to be? Is he going to be happy celebrating his 40th birthday in Montecito?
Well, 40 is supposed to be a turning point in a young man's life. It's, you forget the craziness of youth, and you become more I wouldn't say more adult, but you become wiser. Now, has Harry become wiser? I think he probably has. And I personally think Harry is very happy in Montecito. There's no reason not to be. It's one of the most beautiful places in the world. You've got the mountains, you've got the sea, you've got the amazing climate, and he's also focused on whatever philanthropic work he happens to be doing.
Well, we've heard rumours recently. I mean, they say the Sussexes deny this. They say he's very happy in the US. Yes, he has been reaching back to friends, but he doesn't. But we're hearing these rumours that he wants to spend more time in the UK, that he wants to.
Okay. This is why I tell you, do not watch that show, because it's only going to elevate your blood pressure. This guy looks very dapper. He sounds very smart and everything, but you have to remember that anytime you watch any talk show or any type of panel like setting, they are there to tell you what to think, or at the very least, they have an agenda for whatever cause, in this case, the firm. I'm surprised that Ingrid is pushing back against that narrative. But then again, this may be an attempt to introduce a reasonable talking point. And as I was saying about what is that awful person's name? Camilla Tominey, maybe he does not want to appear to be the one saying something sensible. So instead of inviting someone volatile and I guess super negative and hateful, they brought in someone who's a little milder, but no less lethal, to say certain things. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe he wants her to disagree, or maybe he just wants to introduce these talking points so that he can counter the narrative, just to make sure that nobody believes that Harry is happy. But either way, it's an interesting strategy. That's why I said the new curious obsession with Harry. It seems as though they are trying to guide a certain type of conversation around Harry's happiness and such. The only thing that's really bad on their part, that does not really help them, is that this is recycled over and over and over again. So, yes, I believe it's an interesting strategy. Not sure exactly what they're hoping for, but I believe it's Roy Anika. Roy Anika, she also has used that talking point of there's no reason to believe that Harry is not happy.
Again, that strategy, that tactic that they are using. And I think, again, Charles, I really would like you to read for me again that part that talk about strategy, on the first word, rejected.
Rejected?
Mm-hmm. You could read the whole thing if you want, because I think it is important what Baron just saying, and you could see the tactic. You could see.
Oh, the tactic. You
Yes.
meant tactic, not rejected, because tactic is what you're referring
Correct,
to.
yeah.
So from a tactic perspective, is basically showing orientation or movement directed by a specific force or agent.
Yeah, but the whole section of from rejected that you have read that talk about a form of strategy.
Sure. So, So what it is, just in terms of overall reject, is basically a refuse to accept or consider or to submit, or to take care of for some purpose, or to use the rejected or suggested, or to reject a manuscript is what it said, or to refuse to hear, to receive, or to admit, to repel basically parents who, as an example, parents who reject their children, or to refuse as a lover or a spouse, something that is obsolete, something that has been cast off, something that is to repulse is another good way, or to throw back. That is basically kind of the definition of reject. Or when you apply it to a particular thing, you can actually reject a person or a thing.
The point that I was trying to make. Go ahead.
Well, no, I think it's interesting. It's kind of a conflation of two things because we kind of jumped ahead with that last video. But to round off part of the last discussion and to as we move forward into this, to clarify, I know where you're coming from, Lady Sussex, and keep me honest as always, is and responding to many of the people in the chat from the Sussex squad who are very clear that they do not have any patience or sympathy for Kate for all of what she has been responsible for in terms of the hardships that they have caused for Harry and Meghan, including as I may have been Cookies and Cream who called out the fact that Meghan did suffer a miscarriage.
Yeah, she did.
And then that the responsibility for that should not be ignored. But I know where you're coming from, Lady Sussex, in terms of looking at Kate's position right now as it relates to this video that was released. It's less about it's not about defending Kate. And the fact that Kate may, in this case, ironically, in this situation, depend on the Sussex squad for herself. The fact is, it's really a matter of what is the broader machinations, what are the broader strategies and tactics that are being deployed when it comes to these different records and documents and things that go into the tabloids and media that are out there. What is actually driving that, and being able to understand that and discern what's the sort of the force behind it, to understand what's actually coming at Harry and Meghan, what they're facing, and the ways in which they can really use the support of people like the Sussex squad.
Like I said again, I completely agree. Maybe I'm not articulating myself really well. There is no point, like, a growing person that, who enter a marriage, who enter a situation as she have, and she's basically been, her parents have groomed her to be a part of that. And, there's many other, girls that, that their parents and then themselves had say no. So she couldn't, she didn't say no. She decided to enter knowingly that, her voice was going to be silent. But I also think that, based on what was going on before it all turned onto Meghan 24/7, I think there was a part of it, in my opinion, and I'm sure in many other people, that maybe she enjoyed that. I think maybe perhaps just using Meghan for anything bad, just to make sure that, she get the press off of her, that she played a huge part on that. But I also understand, and I don't want to be one of those people that was out here that only looked at the ball, sort of half full and not looked at everything, and somehow dismiss the power of, the institution that she is a part of, as a woman. And there is a reason why that, she is silent. And so if we all listen to Harry and Meghan, in her interview, and why they, that's why, Oprah asked her, were you silent or silent? So there is a reason. We know that. And what I think probably maybe many people missed is that, after the first Princess of Wales, which is Diana, and their issues with her, the kind of, you know, the difference between her and Charles. And she herself says she wanted to be the queen of the people, people's heart, the princess of, you know, for everything that she brought into the table and that Charles didn't. And the fact that, you know, Diana, you know, later on find her voice and find a way to communicate with people, to love people, to go out there, do her work. It's, to me, I feel like they did not want that to be repeated. So whoever was going to be the next Princess of Wales was not going to have a voice.
Well,
but however, it's still her choice.
Right.
It's still her choice. So I get that. But I don't want to miss the fact is that, you know what, the power of that institution when it comes to women.
Well, there's a new, I'm actually going to do an audible here and give a fourth word. Complicit.
Correct. Absolutely.
And what complicit is helping to commit a crime or a wrong in some way.
Right.
And I believe Kate, no matter what her intention or anything else, she is complicit.
Absolutely. Because I think there is time, there is choice. It's not like she's been in this, you know, institution long enough to know the game and to know what is going on. And then maybe perhaps if there is such a things of, you know, sort of a deal, maybe it's because of that she's able to get whatever deal that she got and playing whatever that, you know, she have in her hand to play. So no, I just want to see everything around and you know, say something and not just kind of like, you know what, you know, talk about, you know, what's very the obvious, but it come from somewhere. So, and I want to have that understanding, and that's why I choose the word, because I need to see what is at play here. Do you understand what I mean? And that's why they use Harry and Meghan very often. That's why they have a problem with Meghan, because she brought in something that no, you know, sort of, you know, royal have before her have brought into the table. The intelligence, the smartest, you know, her own money, everything that, you know what, as far as I'm concerned, did despite. Especially for a woman that did not come from, you know, either royalty herself or sort of aristocrat family that, you know, was loaded with money. And the truth of the matter is, if you looked at, from what they said, I don't know, but many people are saying that, you know what, the Princess of Wales, Kate, was not who Williams wanted to have if he could have someone from the aristocratic family. And based on what's reported, I don't know that to be factual, but no one's want to. And that's why she waited it for 10 years. Right? There must have been a reason. Reject. And you have Harry, who went and chose a woman completely different what they expecting him, wanted him to bring into the fold, to that institution. A woman that got herself together, who sort of like better on everything she does. And we see how that's troubling them. So no, I don't want to look at things in one side and not look at everything. And that's why I say is that, and it's already proving that she have a problem here. Because right now you could only keep attacking two wonderful people, two leaders, Harry and Meghan, that's who's doing incredible, impactful work, to someone that who is, they call lazy, that's not doing work. And she's fair game, because if they are not talking about her husband, Look how quickly they're jumping everything. It's her fault.
Well, they got to talk about something. At the end of the day, they have to talk about something. And so if William is off the table, there's only one other person left.
That's right.
That's it. And
That's
so I
right.
think that's just kind of where it is right now. I think they were using Harry and Meghan as kind of that whooping stick. And now that they're gone, because they're not giving them what they need, they have no other choice, no other alternative.
Everything they
in order
tried,
to-
it backfired on them.
Right. So I think that's just kind of where we are right now, is that, and that's just where Kate is right now. Like she's the whooping post because they have to talk about something. It's the only thing that's going to bring them views and impressions and and at the end of the day, money. And so that's where we are. They have to talk about something. And the fact is that, they don't really do much. And I think that's one of the big reasons why Harry and Meghan's always just so persistent in the news is because they actually do things.
They're not just only doing things, they're effective, they're impactful.
Well, they're not trying to highlight their impactfulness and their effectiveness, right? That's not what they're trying
That's
to
not
do.
what they were doing, but
so I mean, I think it's
the result.
I think the fact is that because they are actually out doing things, good things that they won't actually highlight or try not to highlight, but because they are impactful, they are effective, they have to say something. But they're.
Can you pull the report on what Harry said? From the People magazine, what he says that look, he's looking to do good in the world. Could you read that?
Yeah, but actually, before jumping to that, is I think it is an important clarification that is being made, and I think there's a distinction of what you've been talking about, Lady Sussex, which is about the bigger picture of what's being orchestrated by all of that ecosystem and all of the what's frequently referred to as the men in gray suits kind of thing, not about Kate in herself and what she's choosing to do. But I do think to that end, and it's an important discussion. It shows up in the chat. People feel very strongly about this, and there's really important perspectives that have been shared. I mean, Cookies and Cream shared that those people are so despicable. As a mother and a woman, she should have had compassion for what Meghan was going through. Instead, she facilitated that abuse. And Gingerbread said, Lady Sussex, she still could have let the world know that she did not agree with what was being said. She could have used the media just like she used them to now. She's a piece of work. I mean, there's
I
a
agree.
lot of things.
I
There's
agree.
a lot of things that Kate could have done differently.
100% agree.
I think that's the distinction, is what you're talking about right now is about not what Kate is doing herself, but actually how she's being used.
That's right.
And that's a different matter entirely in terms of the role of creating a document like that video. And I think it goes back to the connective thread of where you were thinking about when it comes to the service, is that idea of rejection as a tactic and rejection as a tool, because there has been a clear rejection of that video by a lot of the Sussex squad, by even the tabloids themselves, who for a lot of different reasons have come and said it doesn't make sense. It doesn't even seem real, some people say. And so there's a rejection of that. But also, you see the rejection manifesting itself in terms of what's been kind of thrown at Harry and Meghan that is not sticking, because they do have the authenticity. And that's what that last video, that last clip that you just played, with, I think her name's Ingrid Seaward or Seaweed something, if you ask Baron Seaweed, who's been someone who's been consistently against Harry in terms of the press and the publicity she's put out there.
And
in
then
this
all of a
case,
sudden,
actually, all of a sudden, standing up and saying that, why wouldn't he be happy?
And it's been happening, the past, week or so, where you are looking at places that you normally know that, they have something horrible to say. And all of a sudden, like what? Did I just hear? She said that, I mean, it was just a week ago for Colombia trip. She was going at them. Do you understand what I mean? I mean, it just now all of a sudden that, she's talking about Harry's happiness. Like something is not connected. There's something missing. There's a tactic it's been playing here. And I really think, I'm wondering, is that's what led us to our next word, deranged.
Exactly.
And so how should I look at this word, Charles?
Sure. So for deranged, it's an adjective, obviously, and so often offensive, mentally unsound, sometimes offensive, wildly odd or eccentric is another one. And then Austin, from more of a dated thing, is now sometimes offensive, disturbed, or disordered in function.
Josh.
I am yes, I have some things here, but it's been a wild chat today, and I'll just say, to just looking at it, we've had more trolls than we've had ever before.
Because we're talking about Catherine
in the chat, and I do appreciate everyone that has chimed in and called that out. So we can use it
because Baron, I don't usually talk about her. So
what Baron calls
I expected it.
The troll spray, using that. So appreciate that, and again appreciate everyone's contributions and thoughts and perspectives. That's actually what the whole thing really is about. And I think it's actually just to that end to call out one thing that Sylvia Fielder added, because I think it does a good job representing how we also think about it here, is that this is a church service and that we are here to learn and find understanding and really to ask questions, and we have to use love to fight back.
That's right.
And God is love. And so that is really, at the end of the day, that is what it's about. It is about asking questions and coming from a place of love.
That's right.
And I think with this word deranged, it's a really interesting word. In a lot of different ways, and I think it's unfortunate. It again ties back to where it has most frequently been used. When you look through academic journals and sort of what's been published on it, it is almost always tied to either being insane or to war. And in this particular article, it's talking about the title is "War, Terrorism, and Spectacle," or "On Towers and Caves." It's published in Grey Room, actually, by Samuel Weber. And it's a little bit, how should I say this? It's not a direct application, but there's something to learn and apply to everything that is playing out right now. And it's actually something that we talked about before the coronation, on one of the warnings that we did. But the author writes that one should be as precise as possible here. And using the U.S. society as a specific example, that U.S. society and its media have long been obsessed with violence. Goes on to give examples of what those have been. But saying that it's almost generally always been portrayed, if not always, as a private affair done either by desperate or deranged individuals, or against desperate or deranged individuals. And the author then goes on to say, the title of our topic strikes me as distinctly contemporary. War and terrorism in this context have traditionally been associated with one another, but to link them to spectacle constitutes a relatively new phenomenon. They go on to say, and this is what is new, but it is new in a very specific way. For war has traditionally been associated with pageantry, parades, and demonstrations of all kinds, but perhaps never in a way that we are witnessing today, when we, with a certain type of spectacle, or what I would prefer to call it, a theatricalization. So in this case, it's, okay, yes, our author's talking about specific war and terrorism and conflict, but if you level it up to just the idea of conflict in general and how that is being theatricalized in modern society. It's something that we talked about quite a bit in previous services, and even the idea that the stage, that's one of the words we did, a stage and a theater, and that's what's actually going on right now. And you look at this idea of what is going on by deranged individuals and how things are being theatricalized as a part of a spectacle, as opposed to it really being about the core substance of what's going on. There's one of the best ways, I think, in my opinion, to look at a lot of times what the tabloid headlines are. It is about conflict, and it is about creating spectacle.
And you see that because you see, as we're going to make our argument playing against Baron, that again doing incredible work, that you see that backlash, what was going on in the media. All of a sudden you have this story out of nowhere about Harry and Meghan. I think let's start playing these clips because the show is really long, but we are trying to make a point here to exactly that. Go ahead.
This is a strategy. They have gone hot and heavy with this. And when I tell you that there is absolutely nothing new, there is absolutely nothing new. Anytime they mention Samantha Cohen, and most of the people that they're referring to are people that were not really working for the Sussexes. They were appointed to the Sussexes. They were not hired by the Sussexes, right? They were appointed by the palace to Harry and Meghan. And if you notice, okay, Rebecca English did not write this one, but didn't I tell you guys that there was some kind of rollout with William and that it was all about Harry and Meghan bad, Will and Kate good. So they're pulling this one out of nowhere again. Let's see. Leg says seems they need to deflect from Wank's failure. Here. Thank you so much, Legs. I was counting on you to chime in. Hello, Anastasia. Thank you so much for being here. But yeah, I was a bit speechless last night when I saw, like, it did not get much traction. I'll just say that it did not get much traction in the comments. People were, not everybody, there were the usual haters, but some people were just like, old news, this again, please leave them alone. That kind of thing. Um, the problem with Harry in Royal Circle, he's left behind. He's left behind feelings of disgust. Is accused of wreaking biblical vengeance. That is Rebecca the Blob. So these two stories work in tandem, right? One strike against Meghan, the other one is striking out against Harry. Rebecca, who has been around Harry a lot as a royal rota person. This is what amazes me about her is that I'm pretty sure, I mean, there are photos with Harry and Rebecca during these royal outings and such. And yet she seamlessly, for the sake of William, I'm telling you guys, I felt very strongly that William's return to work is part of a massive rollout. What happened in Colombia was such a sobering wake-up call for them. They were not prepared. They got very little notice before the trip took place. They were on vacation and they had no answer. They had no way to respond to it. But biblical vengeance? Biblical vengeance? Who used language like that? He left behind feelings of disgust and is accused of wreaking biblical vengeance, and some vow never to speak to him again. When she says some, she's talking about William. This is on William's behalf. Read Rebecca English unrivaled report.
I mean, can I even follow? I mean, he summed really, really, really well. There is a game that is being playing here.
I said at the beginning, it's a strategy.
And there is a strategy here, but there's also something else that I'm trying to put my hands on, because the idea, just that little door opening of confessions of the same people that has been trashing Harry and Meghan, and they still continue doing so, but yet there is a little room there of truth. There is something that we are not seeing. There is something in their strategy that we need to look at into a little bit deeper. And I think we're going to go to the next clip.
Yeah.
Enters the Sun. Now, that was a Daily Mail. Midwife crisis. How Harry is gone from spare to Meghan's +1 as pals fear birthday boy is hating his life in the U.S. Not according to Ingrid, not according to Jeannie. not according to Roy Anika. How do you have this divergence between, let's say, a Rebecca English, who is a mouthpiece for Kensington Palace, and then the rest of them, who I believe, as I said yesterday, I do believe that some of the sobering, or sober minds, should I say, they are trying to save the institution from themselves, because this strategy is ridiculous. It doesn't change anything. I do believe that they've given up on this idea that William and Kate are going to be a big hit in the US. I believe William has given up on the idea that he's going to be a big hit in the US, as evident by the fact that he decided to withdraw from New York, which, of course, Rebecca English was dispatched to go out there and claim that William, excuse me, said months ago that he wasn't going to go. But we all know that that's not the case. He was going to go until Harry announced his trip. And then all of a sudden, he chickened out. And then there's Meghan center stage. What's missing is there is a lawsuit, or has been litigation, has and continues to be litigation against Rupert Murdoch, right? And so I suppose this was designed to try to spoil Harry's birthday, or whatever it is that they're trying to do. Waste of time. This is a epic waste of time. It doesn't change anything. Harry is incredibly popular in the United States, and even more so popular in the military and veterans community. So this changes nothing.
It's absolutely don't change
Again,
anything.
Yesterday, the Sun and the Daily Mail said that they were going to do some restructuring and cutbacks in their news gathering, news bureaus, whatever you call it, in the United States, which is not an indication that they are succeeding. That's an indication of failure.
And that's the thing, don't look at what people say, look at what they do.
That's right. That's
the fact
right.
that they're pulling back those operations, that is, as Baron called out, that is a pretty significant manifestation of their actions that tie back to rejection. The narrative they put forward is rejected, and that it's not working, and they have to then respond accordingly.
Exactly. But I think for me, the way I'm looking at this, how they construct and put this report together, the word they use, where they come from, is as though they literally had nothing at all, and they were stressed out. What can we come out and actually really say about the Sussexes? Because we got to remove that pressure right now that's on, sort of the Welleses. Because I don't think they're expecting this backlash that they have from everybody for whatever. And I'm sure most of those reporters have their reasons. But the way that looks to everybody listening and see that, how that, yes, you could only, sort of accuse, Kate and all that, yes, and everything and all that, but without, mentioning, her husband who play a part of that video, you're not saying anything. Like, I don't know if they calculated it really well. And I think that, what, that backlash was so severe, as they always done, is finding some type of excuse to bring Harry and Meghan into the madness. They put this so-called report together to have people talk about, but nobody was biting. because it did not make any sense. And you'll see what I mean by the next two clips. So let's play the next clip.
Why Hollywood keeps quitting on Harry and Meghan. Plus, how the echo. Well, anyway, this article, which is a new article as of the 12th, it references everything from the past, including all of the people from Kensington Palace that not only were not ever going to come to the United States, they never worked for Harry and Meghan in the first place. And they are deliberately omitting that information to try to make them look bad. I didn't know that the Hollywood Reporter was so shady. I looked up the parent company. I don't think it belongs to Murdoch, but it is full of shade. And I won't even bore you with the article because it's all rehashed. It includes this guy who was on a 3-month trial, right? And then it also, let me see, where is it at? Somewhere in there it says, oh, there it is. 2021, Samantha Cohen. Well, what happened in 2021? What happened in 2021? Harry and Meghan left in 2020. Samantha Cohen went to work in the government. She was not coming to the United States. There's no way. She went to work for Boris Johnson. That's why I say all of this, and this is from the Hollywood Reporter, this is rehashed. It is nothing. It is all the same thing. The article even mentioned 5 a.m. emails. It even went so far as to say 5 a.m. emails. So when I tell you they don't know anything from Montecito, that they have no reference and no sources from Montecito, they are leaning heavily on the Kensington Palace days when the staff was torn between the Sussexes and the Cambridges. And there is no way that the staff could legitimately refuse information to William or even side wholly and completely with the Sussexes. Just like Christian Jones, they said that he was a secretary to Meghan, but then the same article said he was also working with Will and Kate. Same with Jason Knopf. He was supposed to be there for Harry and Meghan, but then he was also working for Will and Kate. Those people that they are supposedly so damaged never really worked for them. They were working against them. They were plotting against them.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
The thing
Go ahead,
that strikes me about this is everything that Baron said is 100% on point. But there's one more layer that might be worth adding, especially just always keeping in mind that there are those sort of outer rings of the spectrum outside of those who consider themselves part of the Sussex squad, to people who maybe are generally favorable to Harry and Meghan, to people who are indifferent, that don't know anything. There's a lot of people who, it's not even a part of their daily, what they think about. And it is important to recognize, as Baron calls out, that none of this is new. It is
Absolutely
all rehashed.
not.
But the other thing that is important to reiterate in doing that is to call it out as it's implicitly there, but to say it explicitly, that to actually say that to represent that these people left because of the way that they did in the article, and to even misquote the dates. That is
confusion.
It's at best it's confusion, and at worst it is deliberate disinformation and misinformation.
That's right.
And yes, the fact that it is not new is important, but it is also really important to call out the fact that it is specifically a disinformation campaign, because that is
it. I think the next clip, which I was debating whether or not it was even necessary to actually play, just because I think that Baron had done such a brilliant job, and this next clip, it's by a different content creator, Dre, who makes very similar point. But I think it is important that we hear that, because for me, when I looked at, for whatever the reason, this is coming into my feed to saw Access Hollywood had carry this, and whoever the so-called reporter was, like, there's something weird about it. And it's like, where do they get that information? There is something was just not right with that report. And I think I'm going to talk about what I feel like that happened here. But let's play the last clip with Dre.
From the title, it says why Hollywood keeps quitting Harry and Meghan, and it was basically talking about their quote unquote high employee turnover rate. So immediately observing this article, or this roundup rather, my antennas went straight up. This cover screams YouTube. This cover screams troll, hater, deranger, anti-Meghan, anti-Harry. These are the type of thumbnails that they create for their YouTubes and their Twitter. So right off the rip, I went into this knowing this is not a serious article. This is just trying to get clicks. So immediately once you start reading this article, you start to observe quite a few mistakes. And mind you, this article was written and edited by 2 editors of this magazine. It reads like a Frankenstein type of experiment where they just chopped and screwed different types of bits and pieces from different articles from the UK that discussed this topic previously. It lists a whole bunch of employees from their American side that has left Harry and Meghan. They list Samantha Cohen, and they list her as someone who left her position in 2021. That isn't true. First off, Samantha Cohen worked for Harry and Meghan when they were working royals, and she left in 2019. But this article has her listed as someone who was working for them when they came to America, and they say she left in 2021. In this next paragraph, they talk about the bullying investigation that was conducted by Buckingham Palace after or before the Oprah interview, and how Meghan Markle denounced the allegations as a smear campaign. But then they quote a source on the state side who says that Meghan threw noisy tantrums and had angry 5 a.m. emails, which earned her the in-house name Duchess Difficult. But that title, Duchess Difficult, was already allegedly given to her by former employees from the palace. So how did she get that title here in America? But this is where this article just reads like a Fox News article to me. And I quote, "She's absolutely relentless," says one source. "She marches around like a dictator in high heels, foaming and barking orders. I've watched her reduce grown men to tears." Am I the only one who smelled a bit of misogyny? And the line about her reducing grown men to tears, it sounds like something that was once described as Princess Anne. I'm just saying. This next part that just blew this whole article up for me. And I quote, "And in a recent episode of her Archetypes podcast," and right then, and that's where I drew the line, because Archetypes was 2 years ago. There's nothing recent about it. All the episodes came out in the year 2022. We are in 2024. How is that recent? There's a few things that I'm thinking. I'm thinking, one, the Hollywood Reporter is doing what I'm noticing a lot of other publications are doing and a lot of journalists are doing. They're catching on to the fact that this is an easy click. And that is pretty much the motivational factor of writing articles today. Two, they're fishing for some sort of source that's close to Harry and Meghan currently, or was close to Harry and Meghan, because a lot of people do not realize Harry and Meghan has a very, very tight circle ever since they've been here in America. Or three, all of this is true. Former employees from their American ties have complained. In my opinion, this was not vetted. Nothing of this was real. This is from past articles presented as something new. And here's another inkling One last thing as well. Both the journalists who wrote this article were both just criticized recently for how they wrote an article concerning Angelina and Brad Pitt meeting in Venice. And a lot of people complained that they just pretty much mocked Angelina in her experience with DA. Now, I don't know these journalists. I've never heard of them before. But the fact that a lot of stuff that they've written in this article, and mind you, these are two editors of this publication, but several things in this article is just inaccurate. So I'm just kind of like, I'm questioning the motive of this article and everything else in it. But this is a part where you guys might not like. Harry and Meghan have to get a hold of this narrative. I say that wholeheartedly with all the support and admiration for both these two individuals. But it's one thing to have this story in the UK, but to have this story over here in America and they're doing work in Hollywood, that's another thing. I totally believe in my heart that there are people who have caught on to the fact that demonizing, villainizing Harry and Meghan, particularly Meghan, is very lucrative. And one thing about America, it's a capitalistic country that is very money motivated more than any other country in the world. And creating smear campaigns and destroying people's reputations, even if it's not true, that is real here as well.
Yeah, I mean, I hear him. I see his point, but I think what gave me comfort is that no one else is biting on this story because you could see it was putting on together and bit and pieces, and that is actually something that could destroy that paper, to be honest. But what concerned me is just the fact that story make it into, Access Hollywood, and so we don't want this kind of format of Access Hollywood. You usually reported about, sort of Hollywood and actors and all that, everything that's going as an entertainment, to now turning into a tabloid thing. Because, or is it a case of people was mad because that, Murdoch had to pull out, these stuff and, work and whatever the case is, there's something. And, is that the reason why that report was done, because people were upset? Or is it a case that, the heat was too much to bear for Kate and Williams? They needed something quick. They needed something fast. They put this badge job out. Or how should I look at it? Because, if you agree with Dre that, maybe this kind of style look like something that's come from a troll from the internet, that doesn't look real to the media format, but yet make it into Access Hollywood? How should I look at this?
Well, I think there's a couple things that are interesting about those last clips and Dre's point in particular. But just to add what Cookies and Cream shared, that the father of the owner of the Hollywood Reporter is in partnership with Rupert Murdoch, and that's why it appeared in the New York Post and also in the racist UK media reporting on it. But I think there's Dre brings up a good point in terms of, at the end of the day, capitalist societies have incentive structures that are baked in toward profit. That's the simple truth of it. And to your point, there's comfort in knowing that there's not a lot of bites, perhaps, and it's not maybe picking up, but there is also that concern about the fact that it is there. But I think to tie that back to your words for for today's service is the tactic of rejection. That is something that is important to understand the power of that, and especially what the Sussex Squad does so well is to call those things out and make sure that they don't continue to gain steam and that they are called out and that they are rejected.
Yes, you're right. I do agree with that assessment, but I also think there's a part of our media that's also very smart as well, because they're not going to, yes, they may be interested in to click just like everybody else, but they're also not going to allow themselves to go under by sort of misinformation doing a lot of those garbage, because as we once used to have, from what I understand, that tabloid, those tabloids stuff. You understand what I mean? And nobody believes them, nobody bite them, whatever the case. People looked at it for what it was, for what it is. But I think it's part of all our, forthcoming, or for all our issues here in America, I think there's a little bit of, and there's some integrity of make sure that, the media is not putting misinformations. There's certain, no, they're a lot smarter than that, because again, it's very hard to make argument about two people that, who just basically turn their life into just want to do good. And then you just going to keep bashing them about something
I think that's,
that, there's no proof for.
I think you're conflating two different things.
Okay, go ahead.
You're conflating two different things. I think that the fact that Harry and Meghan, because at the end of the day, what George said is true. Very capitalistic is what American society is. It's all about how you can make the most amount of money, what's going to allow and drive that profit. In the UK, it's very simple that they've seen that Harry and Meghan equals $.
Yeah, but they're also losing money.
Well, hold on. So, but they may be losing money, but it doesn't mean they're losing money more than what they're making. They're making not as much money. So, but what I'm saying, that's UK. But the fact is that they're still a piggy bank, regardless. They still get the clicks, regardless. Here in the States, while they don't necessarily have that same kind of pickup from a media perspective, I think that they're still very much cash cows from obviously the charitable donations and Meghan especially from just anything she puts on her body or anything she's associated with immediately takes off. So you have that aspect of it, but they don't have the same kind of cultural tie-in to the tabloids and also the pressure from the royal family in order to feed that narrative here in the States like they do over in England. Like there's just simply not that kind of relationship here where it's like a forced thing that just has to happen because it's just not a thing here. I think that what this Hollywood Reporter kind of story reminds me of is that there seems to be some external pressure because this really is coming out of nowhere. Like this doesn't benefit them really. Like it's just coming out of nowhere.
I think it's to change the conversation.
Yeah. So I think it's just like this thing that they just were kind of forced to push out. If it's through a Murdoch thing, that basically there was some sort of connection there, or if it's something else, the fact that maybe it's coming through whatever it is. But basically it seems that there was some external pressure to come out with this article that makes no sense at the timing of it, because why now? It just doesn't make any sense. And then as Dre and what Barron has also said, is also that it's full of inaccuracies as well. So it was forced. It clearly was forced. So if that came out from a forced perspective, then again, I don't think anyone else is going to pick that up simply because they don't have that same kind of pressure in order to do it.
True, but as I said again, all about capitalism, I know it well and I accept it. But there's something also we have here in America where brand matters. And I think that, when people or whoever or media platform that decided that, that's all they want to do, whether it's misinformation or whatever, they upset that branding and they upset that's what they are and they are okay with it. But I do think there's other media platform that's very careful. They could be a little bit smart about it to a point where you missed it. They could try to build on something. They could try, but I think they're extremely really careful because there is law in place. There is lawsuit. There is so many things that could tarnish, especially in the world that we are living right now. Do you understand what I mean? Because even certain big platform, big, companies have had that issues where they had to let go their stars because of certain report or certain things that they talk about that create a situation that, I still believe in the system here that's kind of like, that's a bit different than what the UK have. And I could be naive about it. That's okay. But I am just saying is that, I'm not saying that, Harry and Meghan should be exempt of criticism. Because even some time, like, the Sussex Squad, like if they were doing something, for an example, Facts and Two Cents, I think Baron always say when there wasn't sort of, they needed to change their website and things like that, whatever the case is, because, I mean, they talk about it, I mean, they're not exempt to that, but when they do something, but you can't make an argument about somebody that everyone have nothing but nice thing to say, and that is not who they are. You can't force people to accept an argument that is there's no line for it. And even if you would take the argument that, what, they've been tough, they would been this, why shouldn't they? They have a business to protect. They have a family to protect. They have their life. They have to protect everything. Yes, if they're going to be tough and they're going to be a hard boss and they're going to be whatever they're going to be, good on them. Because I don't know any organization that make it into just by kissing everybody. It doesn't happen. You're going to have to, you can be nice, but you can also be sort of, sure on what you try to do and not taking, what most people will say, certain type of BS. You can be a strong boss. You can have your opinion. You can, your determination. I don't think that should be confused. If somebody tried to confuse that, then you have to answer a lot of other things. And I don't think these people, they want to answer. And so for me, is that, until they have something for people to criticize, for the media is, and I'm sure the media here are watching, they see what's at play here. Is there some other people like this reporter that probably just want to make their paper famous and they see Harry and Meghan as a, piggy bank because so many people are making millions. All you have to do is mention them. Hello. I mean, I could be completely wrong. I could be completely wrong.
No, I don't think you're wrong.
But I just felt like, what we are seeing right now, change is coming. And I feel like, those so-called media over there, the royal waters, can see the writing on the wall. Something is changing in the media. When you hear the biggest name, it's pulling stuff away and they are losing money with all the lawsuits. What does that mean for them? And also, the best is yet to come for Harry. What role, what more he thinks that he's going to do in the world stage that will impact their own work? Or should I even go further to even say, are they themselves, like what I think William's probably doing, finding ways to put things out there so they can say, well, I did, I'm not always bashing them. I've seen that, they're wonderful. They, they have great life and amazing. I mean, come on, it's unfair for you to, are they too creating record for themselves? I don't know. Don't look at me like I'm crazy.
No,
I know I'm deranged myself here.
I'm just laughing because this is a little bit. It's sprinkled in a little bit of business advice into today's service as well for business leaders. Not take any BS. Sometimes you got to be firm. But it made me smile because of Novi D's comment that she's enjoying this marathon podcast today because it truly is a marathon. We've just crossed the 3 hours mark. So with
are
saying,
we really?
Saying a special thank you to everyone who has been with us, especially throughout the entire time and who's still with us here now. That includes you, Novi D, and Connie Bomber, and Church Nelly, Lola Love, V Brain, and Elizabeth Sconier. I mean, everybody has been going and supporting throughout the way. So and Sylvia Fielder. Thank you for staying with us for this. It's aptly described as a marathon.
I'm serious. Is it going to be a case that, you know what, these royal roaders are making their on record to be on record that they had say something nice about Harry and Meghan?
Well, it's funny because I was doing research like last week, and I just go and I look for Harry Meghan news, do the whole Google thing, and then what will happen is that you'll get all the articles, right? It'll just be a stream of RSS feeds. It's just get the articles. But what you also have is it's so funny that I was looking at it. It was the Daily Mail, right? And the Daily Mail literally had it was for this video, as a matter of fact. So it was the same video, right? The exact same article, but it was listed under, I think, maybe 6 or 7 different authors had released it within like an hour of each other. And they just changed up the headline a bit and they just made some little tweaks here and there, but basically the exact same article. So there was like 7 of them within an hour. And then for the same reason, they had like one small article of Harry and Meghan, like as a throwaway thing that just happened to be there, I guess probably to get like some clicks or some views up or whatever else so people go back on it. But I just thought it was so interesting. Like they had nothing to do with it. It was nothing. It was literally, there was no relevant information. They just threw it on there in order to kind of gin up some more content and views for the other 7 articles in order to kind of push out this video. But it was just so interesting about the whole dynamic of how they try and, leverage them but don't leverage them, in this whole thing of the intricacies about how they try and manage their relationship with them.
There is something in the air, weird. And I think we're going to come into a closing. But to even look at the pictures of, Prince of Wales that, question, is he okay? I mean, and I actually mean that. To see almost how frail that he looks, the bags under his eyes. And when you looked at his wife, she looked the best she have looked in a very long time. And you wonder who suffer with what, who has what. Do you understand what I mean? It's just, I feel like there is something in the air. There is something, it's happening. There is a change that is happening. And because of that change, I think we need to move to verse, because otherwise we'll be here for the next 3 hours, which I didn't think that, we are. Oh my God, we need to change to verse. But the song that I choose for the worship Sunday song, as we will release a little bit later, now we just spent 3 hours. Oh my God, I hope we have time to put it together. It's a wonderful song. I'm sure many of you know is that a change is gonna come. It's originally, the singer was Sam Cooke. It's an amazing song. I think it's a song with a lot of meaning.
Tons of meaning.
Tons of meanings. And for whatever the reason, good or bad, something is coming. And we need to be prepared. We need to be ready. But we need to be open for it. So let's move to verse.
Okay. So for verse, there's actually 2 different verses I'm going to give today. And the themes are, the first will be regarding wisdom, and the second will be about faith. So the first is James chapter 3, verses 13. Who is wise and understanding among you? Let them show it by their good life, by deeds done in the humility that comes from wisdom, which I thought was really apt. And then the second is regarding faith. It's Matthew chapter 17, verses 20. Because you have so little faith, truly I tell you, if you have the faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say this to mountain, move from here to there, and it will move. Nothing will be impossible for you.
Amen. Amen. Josh.
First of all, we have to pray for the trolls, all the trolls.
We have to pray for everybody. I think they are, the truth of the matter is, the way I looked at many of the trolls, to see that, they are making money, so much money, just bashing or after, people that were actually doing good, that will impact their life, their kids and their children's life. And I wonder when they sit at home or they cash that check or they, sort of putting food on the table to have that understanding that, in their mind, and I know God have a, way of working that, how do they feel about that? How do they feel about one day they will have to tell their children or their grandchildren, or how can they ever be proud? Because you will always know how where you make your money, whether it's today or tomorrow. It'll come back. So, George.
Yes, and with that, we'll start off today's prayer with, again, as we mentioned at the top and as we've been doing throughout the week, prayers for everyone in the Sussex Squad community that has shared that they are going through their challenges right now, whether they're health or otherwise, especially everyone who's dealing with different forms of illness and sickness. May God continue to be with you and grant you that healing and strength to continue on and to push forward to that next, what comes next. But on today especially, we want to pray prayers of thanksgiving for Prince Harry on his birthday as he turns 40, for all of the incredible work that he has done, for the incredible man that he has become, and for the impact that he is having on the world because of and overcoming, and despite all of the odds against him, all of the forces that have been working against him to hold him back, that he has been able to go on and do those incredible things now with his wife by his side, supporting him and his family that's all around him. Please continue to give him that strength. In addition to having a wonderful day today on his birthday, continue to give him that strength to keep doing that good work. As he said in his statement, that he's no longer the anxious 30-year-old, but now the excited 40-year-old who's ready for the next decade to continue to do good work. Be with him and give him that strength so that he can continue to use his platform and his resources to make the world a better place.
And for God to continue, bless their family, strengthen their love, and keep doing incredible things. But we also, again, have to pray for the royals, specifically the Welses, because I think it's very, very important. And regardless how we may feel about them, regardless what is being done, I know sometimes it's very easy to go for an eye for an eye. But we got to leave that to the great Lord, because it cannot be easy. It cannot be easy to look at his brother and see the sadness, no matter how he may feel about his brother. But I think a part of him is missing. And I hope one day he realizes that, if he has not realized that the two incredible son his mother had produced, and the fact that, Diana herself knew that one day there is a possibility what we are seeing here can happen. And that's why she did a lot of wonderful and left something where that can help Harry, because she knew that Harry was going to be not having the palace behind him. It was very clear to me that as a mother, not that she knew that, Anne was going to come, but the spirit in her must have felt something. But I also know that, she must have thought of that, William's going to need Harry. And if he makes it to the throne, I think he's going to realize that. I think he's going to realize that. Because I feel like, for me, myself, this man is suffering right in front of our eyes. It makes you wonder where all that tantrum, where all that, everything that, that's been reported is coming from. So for that, I pray for him. And I pray that for Catherine, who tell us, spite of the way she chose to do it, that she's now in better health. So we thank the Lord for her kids to be able to have her. And we'll continue praying for our communities, for my mother, for the family, for the great loss of Michaela that we had this week, that her family find joy in the time that she was there. And for our communities, not just the Sussex Ward, but the art community, we come to term to this. So I pray. So is there anything else we need to say? Because
there is a final huge thank you to HenPal. Thank you so much for the donation and for your support for the channel. And it is a reminder for everyone, for us here, who's always bad at doing that, to ask everyone to please subscribe and share.
That's right. We are so bad with that, guy.
So
we
true.
are literally so bad. The subscribe and sharing and thumbs up. Give us a thumbs up, because now we are on live, so we can ask people to give us a thumbs up or not. So we never can remember.
Man.
But really, guys, love wins always. On this wonderful, amazing day, we all celebrate this incredible leader that God has given us, which is what we find in Harry and Meghan. And we hope nothing but the best. And hopefully we'll have him for another 40, another 60 years doing amazing work.
And I say one more prayer of thanksgiving. For you, Lady Sussex, and for all of you who are in the Sussex Squad, and for Baron and all of the amazing content creators for doing that hard work and being willing to take on the ugly and the negative and the not so fun stories and to shine a light on them, so that Harry and Meghan can be where they are today and can even go on and enjoy his birthday, because it is through that commitment of people like you, Lady Sussex, and for everyone that's in the chat who is listening and watching and supporting to create that space that they can exist in and thrive. So thank you.
And I pray for Connie Bomber. I love you, girl. Thank you so much. And please thank your hubby for me. And of course, Church and LA and
all
of them, all
Black
of
Queen.
you
We
guys,
have so
Black
many
Queen,
great supporters.
and so many of you that who dress dare to listen to a girl that sometimes just doesn't make sense. And I am so grateful for you guys to just tell me, you all of your mind, Lady Sussex. No, you don't get it right. I disagree with you. And, and I love it. I love that. I love the fact that, we can talk to each other and you guys could set me straight, because I don't know nothing. I'm just trying to follow.
You're doing a great job. And we also had comments even last week saying that you should not be so disparaging on yourself. So don't be as hard as yourself, because you're doing a great job, and people love the fact of what you're doing.
I appreciate that.
And I will also say that for our listeners who may have got a little heated from the trolls, I hope that your blood pressure all goes down. We're all good. We're all in it for each other. So
that's right.
So
that's right. That's right. That's right. The devil is always going to be present, but we know the Lord that we serve, and what we are doing here will always outwin the devil, because that's why we say love wins.
Love wins.
And wins all the time. Happy Sunday. Have a good day, guys, and may God bless you. We're not sure if we're gonna be here next Sunday due to Climate Week, and I know you boys going to be extremely really busy, but if we do have a little spare time, we probably put on a short video because I really enjoy being with you guys.
And we do too.
Yes. So may God bless you.
Happy Sunday and happy birthday,
Sunday,
Harry.
Happy birthday, Harry. King Harry. Good day. Goodbye. And please look out for a wonderful Sunday worship song. Thank you for supporting that too. And what is the name of it, guys? Change gonna come.
Change is gonna come.
Change is gonna come.
Amen.
All right.
Bye.